buddy. How you doing today? Very nice to see you. Let me turn this thing up a little bit. Can you hear me? Check, check, check. Is there anybody out there? Is everybody watching Lana? I was trying to sneak in, maybe between Lana and Dinky, but I don't know. And I know it's okay. You might have woken up to the news today. What is going on? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see. I think I know what's going on here. Is this thing on? It's just me and me today. Hold on. Let's see. Yep. Oh, look at that. It decided to have a microphone mind of its own. So, we'll wait for a couple people to collect in here. I'm sure the entire world hasn't forgotten. Maybe that is it. Yeah. Tony's here. If you came to see Tony, he got a little bash in the back of his head. I think he'll be all right. I still haven't found his hat yet. Don't know where that is. All right, and cool. Heather, you should be tuned in watching me fall flat on my face today. Let's see here. Turn it down a little bit. Alright, yeah, it's hot today. I got a new fan. I got this new cool alarm clock. It's multicolors. So it's like Benetton. And it does something. Oh, it does this. It's got a laser. So I can... I don't know what the laser is. I guess it's like one of those hologram things or something. It doesn't have a radio, though. Tom Campbell, yes, sir. Nice to see you. Very nice to have you here today on this auspicious occasion. See, there's batteries in it. Yep. All right. It projects something. I don't know if you can read that from your TV. I don't know. Let me know. All right. And so let's see. Twiz is watching. Okay. So we got a lot. We're going to have Operation GCD in the house. Turok Steel Hawk. Very nice to see you, my warrior friend. Jenn will be here also later. We're going to look at one of the big booms that Lana had, and we're going to... I have a confession. I retain better when somebody... I'm going to read the document anyway, just because... I don't know if all of you are just coming home from work, doing whatever, and this is all new to you. I don't know if you heard it last night, but there's some pretty shocking stuff, and yeah, the two perpetrators, two weapons. Oh, maybe that's what it is, Tom. Yeah, okay. Somebody gave it to me. I don't know. Anyway, alright guys, I guess it's just you and me and the wall today, so we'll keep this between us, okay? Maybe I'll make this a private live. I'll give you guys access. Let me see here, video capture, let's make me bigger now on the full screen. There it is. Hello Taylor, very nice to see you today, and give it a couple more seconds here, and I have orange drink. It was Powerade Sour, which wasn't bad. You know, they have to add, I'm going to assume, a lot more sugar with the sour one. So I got two of those. They don't last long here in Florida. Drinks kind of go. Whoop, 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 whoop. I have notes. I took notes. Let's see what one of them is. Dylan and Bethany as toddlers. Okay, that was one. If you like the thumbnail there. Timeline 4:15. Okay, so I want to start with that. And the reason I do is because we've got this 18-minute timeline that we've been given, right? 4 o'clock or 4:05 to 4:20. Now, Xana is already... I wrote it here, so it's got to be true. Xana is on the floor, according to Dylan, in this imaginary, what is it called, fairy tale of a PCA. that she walked by Xana at 4:15 a.m. And now a lot of people have pointed out that Xana had a lot of defensive wounds. I said, okay, maybe the only way I can picture that you wouldn't be like horrified is that her arms maybe possibly were tucked under her body. And if you want to try to convince yourself and try to explain this PCA anymore, I gave up about a year and a half ago on it. I knew that it was full of shit, and finally now that's been released. Yet they won't release him, and so where my imagination goes is way back to the grand jury. Now we had two grand juries, right? We had a federal grand jury, and then we had a buddies and bros and friends and family grand jury, right? Nordia, very nice to see you, Chaluli. She's making those glass figurines for us today. I'll give it one more minute, and then I'll run my reel. I know your eyes are all here for Operation GCD. But no, we'll put it all together for you today. It is about as obvious now. I don't know where I went. I'm still here. As could be that so somebody was talking about. Oh, that's what I'm in there. Okay. Somebody was talking about how Dylan left the state. Like, fleeing the state, wouldn't come back, was afraid. She was the one afraid she's going to get rid of it, or Dylan, or Bethany. Anyway, wouldn't come back. And, she walked through the house. And then you have, okay, so let me finish my one thought. And thank you for Tarok. Okay, hold on, I lost it. Starting with the timeline. So now you have already Xana down at 4:15. I believe I'm trying to quit. What's up, JJ? How you doing, boy? That we're sold the timeline that ends at 4:18 or 4:23. So now she's already in the ground. You can only assume the perpetrator. This is something I'm still fudging. The perpetrator has already walked by her, so the whole crime's over. 4:15, because they didn't have to. I don't know. Maybe they started there. Maybe went upstairs. What's it starting to look like to you? Now I'm confusing myself. Oh man, let me before I do anything and really put myself in trouble. Last night I was on the Tommy Judo show playing meatballs, and they were all shocked, especially Eddie, and I hope Eddie makes it in today. I love talking to Eddie. Eddie was very concerned that I was going to, I meant to email this to you, JJ. I apologize. I'm going to just put it in the chat, and if anybody else cares to come up and talk with us, not now, today, that would be fine. Here is, let me put this in the chat. I know a lot of people have, hey Echoes, woke up 1984. Good, I'm glad I waited for you guys, because I like my reel today. I've watched it a few times. Where's the chat? Okay, over here. JJ, I'm sorry. Why don't you come on up real quick? Let's do a little preamble here, because damn, I love JJ. I fucking, ugh, this guy is my dude. You should see what he sent me. And hopefully Jenn will be here a little bit later and join us and talk about it, because a lot of it is her stuff. And I've decided today that I'm going to run guest to guest instead of panel. I have, honestly, I haven't seen Mr. Jeff. Jeff, if you've decided to come to the dark side, you're still welcome here. Tony's waiting. We can have a little rock your fingers out thing. It's not today, but Grab your harmonica. Let's celebrate Hanukkah with Jeff H. Oh, good. Outcast is here. Outcast, I'm excited for you to see my reel today. I went a little... I gave it, the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is that little bit extra, bro. And I did it for you. Strong Island, baby. Alright, so yeah, I was shouting you out on... And there was a good 200 watchers last night, Mr. Outcast and Mr. Operation GC. I was definitely shouting out your works and the awesome work. And we might actually play yours. I'm trying to squeeze in before Dinky, and then I'm going to have to go make the donuts. But as of right now, I want to go till at least 5:45. So it's a short show. If Steve Stevenson is watching, this is just for you, because he said that he can't. He wants to watch, but he's not going to go 7 hours. So I just laughed. I'm like, well, most of my shows are 11 hours. Let's see if JJ it has. He probably needs 7 minutes. I'm assuming. Let's see where we are here. Not now. Okay. Every time I hit not now, it doesn't. Okay. Did that link work, JJ? Maybe JJ's having. We had some fumbles. Camera failed to load last time. So I'll give him a minute. Let's get to the reel, my friends, and we'll start there. I'm literally swimming in shit right now. It's because, okay, for the one thing I kind of knew this all along, but for the other is a lot of people are now saying. But anyway, what Eddie was, yeah, that you have. I think the reel's 12 minutes today. Anyway, that sounds so scientific or laboratorian. Laboratorian is a new word. Labracadabra. What was I saying? About the bodies being cremated and the house being torn down. They burned the bodies. They tore down the house. 7 minutes matter. Okay, so if you want to just not watch the 3 hours or 2.5 or whatever to the end, here's the ticket. They're covering up for these girls, one way or the other. They've changed now. They're calling the DoorDash driver instead of a private rideshare driver. Everything's a DoorDash driver or an Uber driver, which they're not. And then there's all kinds of trouble with Squirrel Lane there and the car. So, Leslie and Billy, always a pleasure. Let me grab my guitar. Hold on. Don't freak out. Don't do what everybody thinks you're gonna do and freak out, because it's gonna be okay. I promise you. Let's celebrate Leslie and Billy. I've seen little kids who can make me look. It pisses me off, I'll be honest with you. Is Occult Rejects are here. Oh, Nick, how are you doing, man? It was nice not hearing anything you had to say, because Jenn was motor-mouthing it the other day. But yeah, I really hope you get to come up today and give me another chance. Oh, it is Friday. Welcome to the end of your hard-working week. I appreciate all you hard-working people. Sounds something like it. Let's celebrate Kanika, 'cause I'm in your brain holica. Fuck this judge, bro. Fuck him. I can't wait to hear what JJ has to say about the judge's comments when he comes. I'm excited for it. It is breaking news. Shut up, Kane. Just shut the guy. Sometimes I do things and I get carried away. I like my voice, I think. Sometimes. I got the game show announcer voice on again today. But let's get... Oh, none of you are laughing. That's the funny. Everybody's like, he's just not funny. I thought this guy was going to cheer me up today. Alright, let's bring it back down just to right where we want it. And it's, it's the same 2 songs and the same stupid tornado videos. I was doing it. Listen. Oh, you missed the one the other day. Leslie and Billy, thank you so much. Jeez Louise, you make me feel terrible. The one the other day was good. It was like Leslie and Billy. Yeah, it was like Bob Dylan. I was doing that, but I had that bluesy. I'm the only YouTube Idaho 4 creator that will play the damn harmonica for you when you're in peril. Hello, Stormy Jane. Very nice to see you. Rock Chalk, welcome in. Leslie and Billy. I can do the I'm a man thing. Alright, there's the end of it. Okay, thank you, Leslie and Billy, very much for that. Can we get to... Okay, we got probably 4 or 5, 6 people in here now, which is more than I could expect to draw away from. Like, don't worry. We're going to check in with Lana. She had some brilliant things to say. As usual, I bowed to her intellectually. However, I have an ace up my sleeve, and it's called a JJ. Alright, let's watch this.
Euphigenia Doubtfire, dear. I specialize in the education and entertainment of 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 entertainment. Candy and the sun. Could you make me a woman? Showtime. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run daggers for you. Daggers for you. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run go pump some neurons. I know you're used to Lucy. Such a shunt, such a shunt. I know you're used to Lucy, but I run. Surprise. Hip hop, bebop, dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop doesn't mean that they don't love hip hop, bebop. Dance till you drop. Hip hop, bebop.
According to to many who follow such things. So I think it's pretty obvious that if you've got one market that's shrinking and the other that's growing, that those revenues can help offset each other and mitigate some of the losses, the expected losses. So.
I'm already giving you some. A lot, all day. That's all you've been doing is begging for treats. Because they're in there. Someone left the cupboard open. You can see them all.
When there's something strange in the neighborhood, you're gonna call Ghostbusters. When there's something weird and it doesn't look good, who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
So fucking aggravating. Okay, I take a cute little picture, okay? Maybe my cheeks aren't in a little bit. Who cares, okay? It's a body.
TV shows that make you feel good. Like, that show where they take the ugliest, fattest women and put a bunch of makeup on them and dress them up. The View.
Hi Mum, can I get some money for the new Minecraft movie? Oh, I did my chores last night. No, I'm sick of you not giving me money. I'm about to do the chicken jockey.
Police call this location unsafe and poorly operated. The sheriff even says he wants to shut it down, but the owner, Charles Womack, says he's not going anywhere.
I'm just trying to help these high school kids and college kids because they ain't got no money.
Our dog sleeps in our bed, and someone told me you're not supposed to do that because you lose dominance over the dog. And I asked him, I said, what year do you think it is?
He's right underneath you. That's so cool. Coast China.
Oh yeah, he just came up to take a breath.
1, 2, cha cha cha. 1, 2, cha cha cha. 1,
let me tell you something. 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 Wait. Wait. No, I'm getting in and going to my friend's house. Come on.
It requires no license, no registration. Boom, we're up in the air. We're going to take off over to my buddy's house. Now that we've got there, we've got to figure out how to land. Flipping the engine off. We were talking about engine outs, and he asked how the plane did with no engine running. So I thought I would show him. So here we are, complete no engine. We're just coasting. So once the engine goes out, this thing turns into a glider. And you can hear there's no engine running, but we're still moving towards the ground. So we're going to get close to the ground, build some airspeed, and pull back into what's called a flare, and set this baby down.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my.
Everyone does it. Now you can do it too. Shut the fuck up.
Members of the media. Some members of the media.
Some members of the media. Some members of the media use their platforms
to push their own personal bias.
To push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Isn't that creepy?
What's up, guys? It's International Women's Day! Raise your hand if you're a woman! You may be deceived by my mustache, but I am I promise. Anyway,
how did your husband die?
yeah. Poison.
But there's bruises all over his body.
I know he didn't want to take it.
Oh yes, back again. I know we spoke earlier tonight. Thanks for watching. By the way, you and I, we have to quit meeting like this. It's getting awkward. But you are looking awake? Anyway, speaking of awake, let's go back to Idaho that morning, and I am speculating Dylan, 2:10 a.m., she's texting the Uber guy, right? Dylan, I thought you were a little Miss Sleepyhead. 2:10 a.m., she's asking if he's still driving? Why do you need a ride, Dylan? He confirms he is still driving. It's funny, you know, she's friends with the Uber guy. Everybody's friends. The college kids are friends. Everybody's... But you think that these wild, rowdy, attention-seeking college kids, and all this time, not one of them has talked about this case. Why? There's only one reason. It's because there's a drug cartel threatening them. I'm sick of this bullshit, okay? I'm sick of it. You know this is going on. Anyway, let's get back to young Dylan texting the Uber guy. He confirms he is driving. And then at 10 till 4 a.m., before everything allegedly goes down, Dylan creates a new contact in her phone. Here's what I'm thinking. I think she thought she was going to need to flee. Originally, 2:10 a.m., this is why she contacts the Uber guy. He says, okay, I have a different phone. Nobody knows this number. Create a contact, but he tells Dylan, not now. Do it over an hour from now so it won't look as if we were talking and then creating the number. That's what I think. Dylan was going to flee to Daddy's. Daddy was going to get her out of state. That's just what I'm thinking. Bethany, on the other hand, got married, so she gets an instant name change. I'm sure that's not why she got married, but I wish Bethany the best, but it is a convenient way of changing your name. Dylan, you should have married the Uber guy. Oh my God, look at that. Oh shit, farm right up here. No, please don't hit that farm, holy. I am. That's a violent tornado. Oh my God, that's the most violent motion oh my God. I'm gonna cross the road right up here. Oh no, it's hitting that farm. No. Oh no. Oh no. Come on. Be okay.
What is that? Did you see that? Oh my god! Oh my god, it just went straight to the water.
Good evening.
How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm Sergeant Ivers from the Rusk County Sheriff's Office. The reason I pulled you over is you blew that stop sign.
Check this guy out. No, I didn't. I came to a complete stop at that stop sign.
All right.
Can you show? I mean, can you show me that I blew?
Step out of this.
Where's the audio for it? I'm just wondering.
Uh-oh, what happened? Just turn around, put your hands right there real quick. You got anything on you?
Here's the explosion. Oh no. It was there before. What in the world's happened? Hold on. Let me pause this before it gets really weird. Hold on. Oh. Did I have it off?
I don't have anything on.
That's weird. Okay, wait. We're having technical difficulties here. Let me try this again. I'll pick it up right where it's off. Rock Chalk, you got mad that I called you darling? I can't win today. I can't. That's the show, folks. Thanks for coming. Okay, let's see your final one. Maybe that was just a... That's weird. Oh, I know why I couldn't hear it. It was on... You guys could hear it. My bad. Okay. Alright. We'll pick up... Not to interrupt, but that was a good place to stop. And I only have the audio in one ear. Let's not give it all away. Let's see. Heather. Heather. I blame her for everything. Okay. So you can hear it. Okay. I hope. Wait. Let's see. Yeah, there's no audio. That's wild. Let me do this again. It's every show like this now. You should. I would be sick. I would storm off and rage quit if I were you guys right now. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I can. Could you not hear any of that? Is that what's going on? Is that what's really on? Let me try this. I'm assuming you could hear stuff. I don't know. Maybe not. JJ, help me. Save me now. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, and then we'll go to window capture. Boom. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? It's always the surprise here.
The reason I pulled you over.
Okay, let's start it over.
Good evening. Good evening.
Why not? Why not? Indeed. There we go. That's better. Okay. The car burned up.
Good evening.
I was like, they can't.
I'm Sergeant Ivers from the Rusk County Sheriff's Office. The reason I pulled you over is you blew that stop sign back there.
No, I didn't. I came to a complete stop at that stop sign.
All right.
Can you show me that I blew...
Step out of this.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
Just turn around, put your hands right there real quick. You got anything on you? You shouldn't keep your hands out of your pocket.
I wasn't.
I don't have anything on me, officer.
Stand behind your back.
Officer, I don't have anything
Put your
on
hands
me.
behind your back.
Officer, please. Oh, please.
517. Dude, you okay?
So last Monday, we all watched as Blue Origin took its 31st flight into orbit with an all-female crew, which did all of this in a spaceship that literally looks like a wang. Like, even their graph here looks like just the tip, which is basically what they did. They just got to the tip of space.
2, 1, liftoff.
Huh. That rocket's kind of shaped like a dick.
Yeah.
First question is, you gotta meet the girl.
No.
You gotta say, like, we're friends, but we're really boyfriend and girlfriend. Because you gotta fight for that girl. You gotta really feel it. If someone bounces on you, you bounce right back at them. No one steals your girl. Okay? Step number 2 is you have to look cool. Like Logan. Look at him. He is amazing.
Yo, KB, is that the name you claim? Rolling through genres, let me play this game. Rap like a madman, Eminem with the slang, spitting bars so sharp like a rap hangman. From YouTube fame to Idaho's wild ride, you're breaking it down, putting truths aside. KB got the purge, no doubt he's the king, breaking down the case like a YouTube machine. Kane be the purge, bringing heat in the booth. Facts on the table, there's no room for proof. Throwing down lyrics while the world's watching. Is it guilty or free? That's the question we're knocking. Kane be the purge, taking Idaho by storm. He's got the heat and the truth breaking the norm. We're all glued to this case, no one's letting go. Will Brian be guilty or will he be let go? Kane B's in the game, watch him lay it all bare. Will justice find the truth or just disappear in the air?
Why?
Here's my bubblegum pop, you ready or not? Kane B's in the mix with the case so hot. Rap, rock, pop, he's switching it up. Dancing through the genres like a YouTube cup. Got Kane B, the purge, putting the story in flow. Breaking it down with humor, watch the case blow. Boom, Kane B's riding with the electric groove. Breaking it down, yeah, he's on the move. He's got the purge, so come and watch him reign. Sipping on knowledge like it's truth on a train. Can't be the purge, taking Idaho by storm. He's got the heat and the truth breaking the norm. We're all glued to this case, no one's let go. Will Brian be guilty or will he be let go? Kane B's in the game, watch him lay it all bare. Will justice find the truth or just disappear in the air? Here I am, R&B vibes on deck. Let's get a little smooth, but don't forget, I'm bringing humor, I'm bringing the sound. But this case got us all spinning round. KB with the truth, it's hard to ignore. Like waiting for that next chapter in the lore. It's hard to ignore, like waiting for that next chapter in the lore.
Alright, kind of creepy there at the end, huh? Hope you're not scared. Alright, so let's get back to it. I'm going to check on my boy JJ, and I am one backward-ass country fuck. There ain't no doubt about it. I went to the Dollar Tree, or Dollar General today. You can see the bag in the back. Hi, Chick Bait. Social Glow. Leslie and Billy, you know what? I'll do a naked show. Is that what you want to see? Man meat? Come to the right place. You got Jeff. We got Jeff H is taking it off right now. Probably. I don't know which one I want. This one. Okay. Nick's out there. Woke Up's out there. Okay, that's all I needed to see. Let's check in on our fair. I know why you guys are here, and I am as excited this time as many of you are to get Operation GCD up in this bitch. So without further ado, JJ, let me see here. Did the link not work? Anybody heard from? We're trying to. I don't know if I just blocked somebody. Okay, there it is. There's the link again. if you missed it, Mr. Operation GCD man. I've done shirtless shows before. It's not, and of course I'm not wearing any pants. No, I am. Actually, while we wait for JJ, let me get my drink. Today's show brought to you by Orange Nitro something. Hot dogs. They're beef hot dogs. Here's my producer, or Jen, or one of the two. I don't know which. Okay, settle in here. Nice and comfy on my pillows. Alright, there we go. Can you see me? Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. We're going to talk about the case. Trust me. There. One thing at a time, man. Bakakme? What is a bakakme? I don't even... that's a new one. Naughty. Naughty Nadia. I used to sing that song, Naughty Naughty. This girl had never heard it before. I'm like, how do you even live in this same world? I felt like there was movement in the back rooms of the stage here. God dog it. I hear a microphone move. Oh, hold on, wait a second. We have a special guest here for you today. There he is, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado... Oh, I want to play your new theme song too. By the way, I liked it.
Okay.
You know, nice. It's funny because Doug Outlaw, who wrote my theme song, was in the middle of writing you a theme song. I never told
that's
you.
Awesome.
And he was asking for information about you, and I said, "Well, he's the garbage can dude. He digs it all up, and he's Appalachian and da da da." And so he wasn't sure what genre you like. I said he's a very private guy. I'm not sure. These
are all accurate statements you're making, sir. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I know you well. Don't get so big-headed here. Hold on, you're huge right now.
No, I appreciate it. I definitely enjoy multiple theme songs if he completes that project.
Well, he sent me the lyrics, and it's pretty badass. And I haven't heard the song yet. He may have sent it to me. He's like, I can't figure out why it's taking me so long to get it done, but I'll get it done. And nice. I told him that you got copyright struck by, what was it?
Spotify got me in all my episodes because I play, just regular old music at the beginning.
Yeah, I really like that song too. Not just the Buffalo Bill one, but the
That's not going anywhere. Buffalo Jared, until I know where he's at, until I can determine his whereabouts, location, and rest assured that he is in prison, I will continue to highlight the Buffalo Jared situation.
Still no track of him, huh?
No sir. Very suspect situations.
That is kind of terrifying, especially since you live in rural America, allegedly, so to speak.
I think it's terrifying because the guy he did murder was the guy that he did con into hiring him as his PR rep. The same thing he was harassing me about. He was hounding me about. So. That's what I'm saying. Like, am I still on his list, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Is he sitting?
You're top of the list, bro. Let's face it. Hey, say hello to the people. I got up to get my drink, and I forgot to get my drink. I'll be right back, folks. I'm still listening. This is JJ.
Howdy, folks. Not the president, host of Operation GCD. Ready for some purging. Ready to get some purge on. Brought to you by diabetes and whatever else Kane is drinking today. Type 2 diabetes and whatever else Kane's consuming. There's some interesting developments I've seen in the case, obviously, with all the documents. Show's done. We're out of here? All right, well, got to wrap it up.
Sorry,
There's a lot of interesting developments, obviously, with the document drops, but I think if anyone's read those documents or watched any analysis of those documents on the YouTube channels, I think you all have probably reached the same conclusion I was discussing the other day in regards to the attitudes of one Judge Stephen Hippler, and that is he continues to maintain the same attitude.
Oh, I see it now.
What do you see?
This is what I get for wearing my Neuralink during the show.
Neuralink? What do you got a Neuralink over there?
That's Post Woke World left me a message after she watched it. She's like, "Great show. Is that a Neuralink band you're wearing?" And it took me like 3 times going back and reading the comment to realize what the fuck she was talking about. Because everybody's always like, "Is that a what do you call these?" She's like, "Great show. Is that a Neuralink?" What is that? You or me? Who's coming through? Oh, we have another. I think we have another guest here. Hold on.
Right now, is this what you have?
Nick, do me a favor and turn down the YouTube, please, the volume. I've been photobombed by Nick.
Is Nick here? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Is somebody here? Oh, there he is.
He decided he's going to get a word in anyway. Okay.
Look, my house is backwards today. Somehow I rearranged the furniture.
It's a lot of heavy listening. Do me a favor though, turn off YouTube. Can you hear me?
I moved the fireplace from that wall to this one.
But mute YouTube, please, Nick.
Huh?
Please mute
I don't know what
YouTube.
you're talking about. It's not on, man.
Well, when I mute you, it goes away. Something's on.
I don't even have YouTube open.
That's
There's
interesting.
feedback coming.
Well, I'm going to open my drink now.
I thought Kane was cloning me first.
Let's try. Why don't do you mind going out and coming back in? Because there's some kind of glitch.
Yeah, I'll try leaving. I'll come back in.
Sorry about that. That's Nick from the Occult Rejects, you guys. Welcome in, everybody. It sounds like the Linda Lane audio. All right, how are you, JJ? Did you get a chance to do an introduction while I lost the drink I didn't lose?
I did, yes, sir. And just as you got back here, I was getting ready to describe to folks that there's a lot of things you can't count on in this world, but the one thing you can count on is Judge Stephen Hippler to maintain his attitude of, the jury can go figure that out for yourself, dumbass. Go fuck yourselves.
Don't get me started. Oh, did you see I made that into a, not a short, but a premiere? And I said it's crucial information because so many creators out there will be like, at twice a day they'll drop big boom in the case, huge
big
thing.
Big bomb.
And it's like, you can't have that. It's not happening twice a day. And then you watch the show and you're like, oh my god, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I think Nick rage quit.
I was cracking up. No, I was cracking up. I definitely enjoyed that.
Hey, maybe this is on my end, Nick. I don't know. Is it? Do you hear it, JJ?
Oh, it's coming all robotically. I feel like you're cloning me again.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't do it. It's strictly Nick.
I mean, it could be the platform you're using. I don't know, it could be.
I'm never gonna live that down.
StreamYard is free. Just to let you know.
Well, all right. I don't know what to do. Can we bring Nick back and we'll do JJ first? Drain his brain hole here on it. He froze up now. Okay. Maybe he's trying to. That's wild because we had it working so well. I don't know.
We had 3 on here the other night. We had a what they call the Skyline, the 4-way. That's when you get the onions and the beans on there.
Is that what they call it at Skyline Chili? Is that what all the excitement's about? I didn't know it was.
Maybe that's the 5-way. Maybe I'm thinking of the 5-way was the.
I know that Skyline Chili is known as a throw your keys in the hat kind of party place. I don't know that they have one on the beach though. The only one I knew of was on US 19 there.
Well, I can confirm. At one point in time, sir, when I used to reside in and around these parts of Clearwater Beach, Florida, over there by MacDill Air Force Base, they definitely had a Skyline Chili on Clearwater Beach because looking for a taste of Cincinnati comfort home foods, right? You got to get some Skyline Chili in your mouth hole.
Cincinnati. You're killing me already today, bro. Dude,
that's a staple in Cincinnati. I took one of my dudes, one of my Air Force dudes I've been friends with for a couple decades plus now, but years ago, before he was heading off to Iraq one time, he wanted to stop by and visit me. I was stationed in Dayton, Ohio at the time. He wanted to stop by and visit me before he went to Iraq. But Skyline Chili is a Southwest Ohio chain, but it originated in Cincinnati.
You want to hear something crazy? I knew the owners, the founders, when I was 18. I worked there for one day.
Okay, so you knew the Clearwater Beach. So those were like a franchise of some sort. Because I remember talking to the owner at the beach location. So all right.
Yeah,
he was from Cincinnati, obviously.
Yeah, it was really well run. They were older guys at that point, so I'm sure they're gone by now. But
maybe that's why it closed. Maybe that's why it closed, right?
Yeah, I think they ran a pretty tight ship. Maybe they lost the grip.
When you call Skyline chili, I always give it the disclaimer. It's more like a chili sauce because I took one of my Air Force friends there, Air Force dudes there years ago. He's from the South. This dude's not very cultured. I ended up introducing him to things like the city and Cincinnati chili, where he literally took a bite of it, stood up in the middle of the restaurant, and yelled, "This ain't chili."
Nick, you're still a robot. You know the funny thing about Nick's audio is it's predicting what I'm gonna say. It's coming through before I say. I heard myself laugh before I even laughed. We could just do this all day, and this is a great show. Welcome in with a Nick called Rejects today.
And it's just one person.
Is that any better?
Negative. No, it's bled through. I could try a whole new link.
I was actually going to ask you to send me a completely different link.
Let's do that. Yes, sir. Yeah. Let's. This is an old one. Maybe somebody got here and tooled around with it. I will. I'm going to dump both these guys. No offense. And we will start over. All right. Well, get over it. Here we go. Okay, we're leaving that page. Do. Thank you for being here with us, everybody. Today, I'm Kane B. I will be your guide on this, as JJ Vance calls it, shenanigan-infused journey. And we'll be digging through the garbage of Moscow, Idaho today. And trying to see if we can't get a final conclusion. I'm pretty much close as you can get to there. Call this Occulto. Meow. Hopefully they're still in the chat. Let me give them customized options. This isn't giving me a lot of options. Hold on, let me turn this on. That's weird. Okay, let's see here. Oh, show display names, ask for display names. Usually it gives me a lot more. You can use the equalizer. Maybe I'll turn off the equalizer. Oh, I enabled the compressor. You guys can't see right now, can you? I'm like talking like you guys are like following along at home. Let me hear. Hold on. Tough crowd today. I tell you. Let's see. Okay. So we gotta do a whole new. I'll do a whole new window. Everything, top to bottom, and hopefully that works. It's always something. It's not my darn streaming platform, guys. There it is. Okay. So save that. Got the audio on? Yep. Alright. Yes, sir. And make it bigger and make me on top. If I can. There we go. And let's see. Okay. So all the customized options are now set. And we'll copy. And this is the fun part of the show. So if you want to... everybody's freaking out over what did I do? I docked the chat. Over the backwards Kane B's the Purge. I can't change it for another week and a half. You can only change it twice every month, or every 2 weeks. So I have to wait. If it's driving, if you want to tag me, I'll take my shirt off first. All right, we have one willing participant here, Mr. JJ. Hello.
Is this the Purge? We purging?
This is it, Nick.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yes.
Now you sound like you're in a tube.
Yeah? What if I change my mic?
Yeah, it's coming in real robot-y.
Yeah, before it was the show bleeding through. Now it's your fault.
No, it's robot-y.
I'm just kidding.
I don't feel like I'm getting cloned, but there's definitely robots involved.
You think you're being cloned? You could be being cloned. There's a lot of that going on.
You never know.
I've been reading.
I see you going. I see you plotting on me.
That's better.
I'm talking through my webcam now. At this point.
Did you have? Oh, maybe your webcam and your cardioid condenser were blending together. Let me turn you up a little bit so we can hear you.
Kane likes to name random things that he claims are parts of microphones. I don't believe him. One day a diaphragm, like Kane, that's a lady's part, Kane. Diaphragms.
And then if that is what's happening, Kane, it is the platform's fault.
Fair enough. Well, you know what? Maybe you go into the settings there if you see them down in that little strip. It's got a little wheel, and then choose your microphone, and then try to choose the good one. Because
the other one you said was too loud. You said it sounded screwed up, so I'm using the webcam now.
Fair enough. Hey, listen, I am not here to tell you what to do.
No, I'm just trying to figure it out. Is it any better at this point?
At this point, it's perfect. You look marvelous.
Loud and clear.
Good. Just go to
walking into my mic like it's.
If you don't mind, go to icon when you're puffing. Just because they strike me on everything now, and I lose and I lose and I lose. So with the little pennies that we squeak out, I don't want to have to shut this down. So I do the same thing, you know. Anyway, welcome in, Nick. How are you today, man?
Good. And you?
Good. Thank you for coming on, bro. What a pleasure. And to actually be able to hear you speak this time will be amazing. Jenn was fired up. She doesn't have a lot of people to talk to about the case, and so anyway, did you catch the recent document drop? Either of you guys there yesterday?
JJ was telling me about it and showed me some shit that he came across, but I don't know if I actually know everything from yesterday.
Yeah, I don't really think we really glean much from the document drop other than we've learned some new shenanigans they're willing to play. But a lot of that was just Hitler's review of the things we heard in the hearing, right? So
what was Hitler's words? I forgot exactly how he stated it.
Well, if you look at you got to go to the bottom page, and it says hereby ordered. The jury's not a bunch of dumbasses. You are. Go fuck yourselves.
Heather was going through the chats all week saying, "I'm waiting for Hitler to tell me to go fuck myself." Oh, you had to be there,
That's really
Nick.
what it is. I mean, it's quite a catastrophe. We learned a little bit of their expert witnesses, quote unquote, but they've also sealed the list of witnesses, and they've sealed they've sealed the jury instructions, right? The only what case do they seal jury instructions in?
This one.
National security cases, sir. That's what I would argue.
Well, I've been saying that because
cases stamped national security.
You know, let's go ahead and start here. I didn't want to start here, but I got into it on Dago's a nice guy. It's all about the diaphragm, bro. It'll save you. About they burnt the house, or they destroyed the house and burnt the bodies. Nobody in Dago's, and especially Eddie on One Maiden Nut, he goes by. I like him. He's a smart guy, but he was challenging whether or not it was possible that the state would return the bodies as ashes. And one thing that somebody brought up in the chat was that Ethan Chapin's mom wore a little urn necklace of her son. And so you don't wear an urn if it's a piece of hair. You would have a vial if it was blood or something like that, which would be sick anyway in this. But the urn, when they said an urn, she wears an urn, then I thought it lended credibility to it. They're not going to do this every time, but when they do, what recourse would you have? Everybody's like, oh, you could sue and da 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 da. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'd still love to see a record of death, but I mean, I agree that they can give the families any ashes and tell them that it's their own victims, their own loved ones' cremated remains. I mean, these people lie about everything. There's so many new lies we've now discovered, and shifts in narratives and oversteps in law, and violations of you name it. And so why would they give them the honest remains even if they did give them remains? You know what I mean?
Well, there's a new lie, and I wrote it down here. You might have seen it at the beginning of the show. Let me read it.
A couple new lies.
4:15 a.m. And there it is. So it's official. You have Dylan walking by and seeing Xana's body on the floor. And now this is gonna take 7 minutes off of our timeline, or 8 minutes.
Well, 7 minutes is important.
You can do a lot in 7 minutes.
Well, here's the, this whole timeline though. So we kind of learned that, Kane, I think, in the hearing. These were statements she was made that have now reappeared in Hitler's order as his arguments against that for us all to go fuck ourselves. And Brian Koberger and the U.S. Constitution, all collectively can go fuck themselves according to Hitler. But this timeline stuff is completely ridiculous. We also saw the shift of now there was confirmation of life of Kaylee and Maddie with the discussion of food, where in which Zana and Ethan were not present and home for at 2 a.m, which that's fucking bizarre. Then they're not home for this discussion of food. But what it does now, it provides quote unquote proof of life. We have confirmation where they were vague in these points before, where all roommates went to bed. There was no confirmation that DM or BF had seen. I always conflate these things in my head. Can see with the initials in the names, that had seen Maley, Madison, Mogan, or Kaylee Gonzalez alive. I'm getting everything jumbled up right now for some reason. It's all getting scrambled.
Well, they all met up in Kaylee's room at 2 a.m.
We have that now. We didn't have that before there, right?
Right. Nick, are you sawing wood?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah. I thought there was a beaver on the show. I was looking for a third participant here. Sorry. No, you're fine. I
wasn't sure. I was wondering if I turned off the webcam, I was afraid that the mic wasn't working. Sorry.
Oh, that's an interesting dynamic. That'd be weird, right?
Well, it could be
You're
possible,
talking to the webcam, huh?
Yeah, and if I shut it off, I was wondering if the mic shut off. Sorry.
Do you need a Bigfoot Cookie Monster image for your screen there? I got one.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be great. So I can just keep the camera on and just cover me.
You should be able to select an avatar. Maybe I didn't. It only gave me a limited number of options this time. It varies. Listen, we work with what we've got. Yeah. So here's another thing.
One more thing here, Kane, if I may, real quick. So
yeah, please.
Now at 2 a.m, despite what the PCA had previously stated to us publicly in the arrest of Brian Koberger, that unnotarized, and I like to stress unnotarized because we were talking about some notary stuff tonight.
Right.
Unnotarized probable cause arresting affidavit of Brian Koberger, which is technically just Exhibit A that's been made public. Whether or not the rest of it exists, your guess is as good as mine, friend. But in that document, it claims all roommates are home by 1:45. Now they're saying Zana and Ethan are not home by 1:45, according to the grand jury testimony. So back in June of 2023, what in Sam Houston is going on in the state of Idaho if they're allowing the grand jury testimony to grossly conflict the probable cause affidavit along with this timeline that we're just now learning about?
Right.
That they've known about since the whole time.
And the thing is, okay, so we have events in a different order now, and we have more detail of the events. What I want to know is, okay, so we have a federal grand jury, right?
According to Steve G, they confirmed that with him as early as December 13th of 2022.
And we also have this, I call it the Friends and Family grand jury, more or less.
What do you mean by that one?
Well, I mean, this was made up of people that are politically connected, right? And so they were more or less, I want to know, bottom line is I want to know what was presented to those folks to be able to get, because another thing is, what questions did they have? Because allegedly, this grand jury had many questions before they made their decisions, but they said the jury can decide for themselves. Y'all can go fuck yourselves.
That's what I'm saying. If that's their attitude the entire time, I'm willing to believe there was no actual grand jury in the state. And they just literally stamped a document, approved. We did a grand jury. And Howard Bloom's talking to fucking ghosts when he starts quoting grand jury witness or grand jury, members that he spoke to and quoted in his article series and book that he wrote, convicting Koberger with a bunch of nonsense. And Steve G's quoting last night on the Not Sober Bird show. So what I'm getting at here is it's all shenanigans there, Kane. Not the good kind. Not the kind that I like. The good shenanigans. These are bad shenanigans.
It is certainly keeping us on our toes, though, isn't it? And, yeah, with what Steve G also said, I got a text from my producer, Heather Fitzgerald, earlier, saying that there are cameras in Wawa Way Park. That was another takeaway from the Drunken Chicken interview.
Yep.
Now, our boy Twiz drove down to test out the cell phone coverage from Lewiston.
I saw that video. I seen it.
And in that video, he happened to find the gate open. He allegedly had someone following him, whether they were following him or not. It was very odd, late at night.
It looked odd.
But I don't remember him seeing... Hey, Twiz. I don't remember him seeing cameras. So here he is. Maybe he can answer that question. I don't know that he drove in the park. I think he just found the gate open. And, of course, if it's closed, you're not going to drive in there and look around. Where do these cameras feed to? How do we get now? Is that another one of the video canvas that they did? Now, this is way out of the crime scene area. So they didn't get his alibi until way later. So this footage is more or less, unless the FBI wants to go and recover it from the DVR that it may record to, it's gone forever. So bringing that up that there's cameras there is irrelevant at this point, I think.
What cameras would they logically have there? Probably a camera at the park ranger station, and then probably, a wildlife cam or two, maybe.
Yeah, it's a squirrel cam. I mean,
you got squirrel cam.
You
got an eagle's nest cam. You got a squirrel cam.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what people would want to tune in to see. Maybe one at the front entrance, and right. I'm sure that Twiz would have mentioned it if he. But
what is what an area that is important to the crime scene, or the alleged crime scene, for that matter. I don't know. I'm still not willing to believe that crime occurred at that location.
Nope.
I'm open to it. I'm not. They've yielded zero evidence of these things thus far. Basically.
Are you talking about the camera and tripod set up behind 1122?
I'm talking about the 60. No, sir. I was going to refer to the 56 terabytes of dick pics that in this last hearing. The judge basically told Ann Taylor, was like, well, look, if you don't have time to watch the video, you don't have time to watch the video. And she says, well, it's all video from around the University of Idaho campus. And I've been saying that the entire time, is they have every inch of that campus, inwards and outwards, covered in cameras for liability insurance purposes.
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to that one camera thing that people were making a big deal about with somebody supposedly running from the house naked in a dog park? Whatever happened with that?
That was just like some Reddit post that some person put up there ridiculously. I don't give it any credit.
Well, it actually got tweeted out by the company on Twitter.
Listen,
sure.
if that exists, man, that is a game changer, Nick.
Yeah, they got talked about it and then totally forgot. But I honestly think it was just some fodder to fucking send people down rabbit holes. I was like, whatever happened to that? Nobody ever talked to just stop.
I think there's so much of that in this case, sending people down rabbit holes intentionally and induced from the microphone of, former police chief James Fry.
Do you remember that dude Justin? I think his name was Justin. He came out. He was on a bunch of true crime. He was on. No, I think he went on. He went on Harsh Realities and maybe somebody else's channel, and he was going around for a few days talking about how he actually knew what happened, and people were going to start coming out and talking about it, and there was going to be arrests.
A lot of people are not familiar. I want to say that even here, JJ here wasn't familiar with Justin. I'm glad that you're familiar with that, because I'd like to play his interview. I've played.
Oh, you know who he is? You know who he is?
Brad Norton. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was some weird dude that just like showed up out of nowhere and then just he kind of fell off the face of the earth once his predictions never came true. You know?
He is also pictured in one of the press conferences, and he's all up in there looking at like a reporter, and nobody else had picked up on it. But I have the video somewhere. I could play in a minute. But that was an odd thing he was claiming. Now the beginning of the interview or of his podcast is him making these ridiculous accusations about Dylan being trans and all this stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what I'm saying. These characters pop up and do all these things to distract folks, and they're all part. In my opinion, they're an organized effort.
Yes,
I've got a background on
so.
this character specifically, and they're very shady.
I think so. I think it's all part of the shtick to just send people down rabbit holes and shit.
Yeah, well, let's look at another character that popped up in the same regard, named Darren Duncan, like Dunkin' Donuts. He was the allegedly. I mean, I did a background on this guy. By all appearances, he was the teenage childhood friend of Brent Kopacka, and they maintained a friendship apparently through adulthood. He was quoted in the media used as diminishing the true any kind of inquiry into Kopacka. You know, one of the NBCs or something picked it up. You know, with him as the star of it. Like, these true crime communities, they got to go. These guys are causing too much problems. They're creating too much shit, and they're terrorizing families and whatnot. And you know, it turns out this guy's a true crime podcaster. I mean, he is a real dude. He was friends with Kopacka, but he also hosted at the time of this interview. I think it was May of 2024, maybe, or May of 2023. He's doing these activities. I think it was 2024, and he's a true crime podcaster. So he's talking shit. He's like, oh yeah, you guys these whole communities are creating problems and yada yada yada. But he shows up on that report as a caller in that Kopacka situation. It is listed on that report. So I mean, again, he is a real guy. I can't confirm that, but there's these weird characters that pop up, right?
Right. Well, there's also a very strange interview with the couple that were his neighbors, and with Kopacka. And
please remind me of that one. Please refresh.
It was the actual police interview in this like community room, where they talk about their interactions. I'd have to watch it again but the details in it are just so wild. And do you remember we were saying last time that maybe Kopacka was the target and this was the collateral?
I'm open to it for sure.
That was a hard one. That's a hard sell. What's up, Chuck Max?
So what do you think this Justin fella is all about? Why is he traveling to press conferences and rooting around as a journalist? Because Nick and I have seen some of those activities with questionable characters and Smiley Face Killer press conferences.
Really?
Including trans people. The one specifically I'm thinking of was a trans person.
Yep. Well, they had the Smiley Face Killer on the fucking back of the phone. Or the Smiley Face on the back of the phone.
Yes, sir.
Like
Did a deep dive on that individual's background.
Please elaborate on that. I'd like to hear more on this.
Nick, please go ahead.
I think, what was that? Was that the Riley Strain case? That was out in Nashville? Yeah, I think eventually, I even found how they even found any. Didn't they find like his credit card or something too, or find some of his stuff?
Yeah, that was the other weird part, right?
Yeah, by a TikTok nobody on TikTok who became famous out of nowhere. It started their whole grift after that, I think.
Yep, it was a TikTok true crimer. And one of the Taylor Swifties' #1 fans, she was in Nashville because of that, linked up with this true crimer who just happened to be live streaming a week after Riley Strain disappears in Nashville in March of 2023.
Yeah. And then I think because of the press conference, then you end up with the training behind it because of that. Right?
Yeah, well, they all claim to know each other. They just happen to find his credit card on the bank of the river a week after he disappears, like as if no one else has walked through there.
Yeah, like
they do it on a live stream.
Hasn't been searched.
And then they're friends with the trainee Smiley Face phone cover person, right?
You know why I know that's bullshit? They said that that's a normal place for bums to hang out. You don't think a motherfucking bum saw that shit and tried using it already, hoping that shit was active.
Yeah, you know
Like,
how
I'm
many
getting
times that thing got
cigarettes
slid by
and
a bum,
Chinese food
dude?
tonight.
Yeah, sliding that thing so many times, dude. Probably numerous bums have gotten their hands on it. An agreement.
I remember the pants, the poopy pants, on the side of the river, right? And then did they catch somebody going through looking for a wallet or? God, that one was a while ago, and I looked. I did pay attention to it, but it's kind of evading me now as far as the details.
We did a couple deep dives there on the occult rejects, and we even have William Ramsey, who's does some great research on the smiley face killers. He joins us for one of those on Raleigh Stream, maybe even two. I mean, his researcher Jim Smith, but yeah, it was an odd one. And there's a lot, in my opinion. Again, there's a lot of these distractions, and again, it's these characters. So, ultimately speaking, we were talking about this trans individual who shows up. So Riley Strain's missing, what, Nick, was like 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think at that point it was probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it kind of like there was a lot of hubbub about it in the immediate aftermath, but not so much at this point. And he wasn't from there.
None of it made sense with all that stuff.
For sure. So in regard to the press conference when they discover his body near this industrial area about 8 miles upstream from downtown Nashville where he was last seen, on surveillance camera, some very clear surveillance camera. When they claim they can't find surveillance footage in Moscow, well, damn it, they should get some of those cameras that Nashville's got, because from a distance you can see that's Riley Strain. There's no question. This is street black and white footage. You know what I mean?
This is something too that I'm gonna unfortunately I have to bring up another case, but I'm trying to make a point here with all this YouTube shit, because I do think YouTube is huge on propaganda.
Is it Kylie Rodney?
Yes.
I knew it.
Kylie
Kane
Rodney
might know about that case.
And I'm sorry, but I find it hugely suspect that the people that found the car and the girl was a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Hold on, Nick. You come in and out when you don't face the mic. I guess it's probably a directional microphone. It has.
Well, no, I'm using my webcam. Remember?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we lose about 30 decibels of audio when you turn away. That's all.
I'm gonna try to aim it like right.
I got you cranked up here.
Now, was this the same YouTuber that Kaylee Gonzalez followed? Was there?
It was Adventures with Purpose found the body, but like one of the fucked up things is that like even one of those guys has a case against him for being a pedophile.
That's weird.
And the thing is that this channel has been involved with finding numerous lost bodies. I wonder if any of them have ever led to an arrest, though. I just have a feeling that this shit is all organized.
Part of the distraction. Part of the production.
Yeah, I just don't get it. It's just I found it very weird that a YouTube channel found the fucking chick when the cops had already looked in the same fucking area. You mean to tell me they missed a whole car?
Right. Well, how does the trans person with the smiley face phone cover get to the press conference of Riley Strain's body recovery before the media gets a VIP spot right in front of the police chief and able to get her phone right in front of his face and ask stupid questions? How does it get there that early? Or they, or whatever.
None of this stuff. Yeah. I do find that I think content like TikTok, YouTube, I think it's all part of propaganda with true crime.
Yeah.
Well, what better way?
I think it goes back to Riley case. I think it got huge then, and it's been going since.
Well, Kaylee Gonzalez was big into true crime, right?
Yes.
I heard.
Yeah, she allegedly solved the case by finding somebody in a grocery store or something like that. Isn't
that how that Chronicles individual got linked up with the G family?
Chronicles of Olivia.
There you go. I couldn't remember her name. Thank you, sir.
I didn't realize that. I there's so many different people and so many different platforms. I don't get it.
If I'm not mistaken, the story goes Kaylee followed her. Followed.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Yes, thank you.
Chronicles of Olivia.
And the funny thing is, JJ, is that
A lot of funny things, Kane.
Well, the funny thing is that we hear the same narrative again in the Luigi Mangione case. We had Pennsylvania, and in that one, I still feel like you never see the guy's face that does the shooting, and there's a different jacket and all this. It's too.
They use the Koberger car identification method to identify the shooter there, right? They're like, this is Luigi, this is Luigi, this is Luigi. And it's just different dudes on the street, right? It's the same thing they pull with the Koberger car. This is Koberger's car, this is Koberger's car. They're not the same car. You know what I mean?
Not by any means. And, why do you have suspect vehicle 1? And now here's the thing, is there used to be a creator, and his name was Kane also, but he went by GAC. I forgot what it stood for. Anyway, Get a Clue. And he did a run-through of all the streets on the possible route. And you know that they have now, it's not a surprise to anybody, traffic cams at every single, not necessarily red light cameras, but between the traffic signals, if you look in your hometown, you will see a traffic light with the camera there for when there's an accident or whatever.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely cameras I've seen in New York that do not take pictures, but yet there's cameras on them. So, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't take pictures at the red lights. You don't catch that flashing, but why is it up? It's definitely fucking recorded.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
100%. And it's been that way for a long time. Now, he went through from Wazoo down to Wawa Way, back to all the way up to Coeur d'Alene, I think. And he listed each and every single camera along any of those routes that was at a traffic signal, which was more or less every single light. And so you have all this video somewhere, and these things that you can see, because it's facing the car, who's driving. Whether you need to Photoshop it or whatever or not, because it's at night. But it was...
Kane, you live in Florida, sir. How many times have you got hit with one of those traffic camera tickets in Florida?
They took them all away. They took them. I have never, knock on wood. They keep getting me with the expressways pay by toll. I hate that.
You do ninja skills. I understand. So I've received these tickets before. And those cameras, I'll tell you what, driving even 55 miles an hour in a 45, that's a clear shot they're getting of you.
Oh, yeah. That was a private company, and they use high-res cameras. They have one back and front. They have license plate readers. I wouldn't be surprised if they had face scanners also.
Well, they got face scanners, all right.
And those are actually, with that true or real-time crime, those are popping up all over the place.
That's how they got Luigi. He went to that McDonald's. That McDonald's, if you ask me, has got a damn biometric face scanner built into their camera system software there. And when you see the pictures of them at the McDonald's, they're at the level of where that camera is on that damn machine, the kiosk in the center of the McDonald's. So I went a little deep on that one and went to the lobby of the thing and did a little forensic study of how those where you would have had to been standing or sitting in which to take those photographs they released of him. And that is the McDonald's in which he was at when he's arrested.
Is that you visited that McDonald's?
No, I just went out through all the pictures online and just recreated the whole scene. And the only place that those pictures can be taken from at that angle is those damn kiosks, which explains why he thinks he's scot free, right? It also explains why. Whatever he's running from, I don't think he's the shooter. Whatever he's running from, he's involved in something there, though, right? And it also explains why he, they never paid out the reward. First, it was an employee, then it was a customer, and then they're like, you know what? They didn't call the right number. We're paying nobody out.
Which apparently they do all the time.
It's possible. I'm just saying, like, their whole story was bullshit, right? Like, I saw an interview with the customer they claimed is the one that called him in. He goes, no, I didn't call him in. They just, the cops, I was just sitting there drinking coffee. Just an old boy,
Yeah.
Just about 65, 70 years old, just an old boy drinking his coffee at McDonald's. I saw the cops coming in. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
A little excitement in an otherwise dull day.
In that area, for sure. That's not that far, though. I mean, Again, isn't it weird, all these activities? So his intersections don't go far from the Zizian death cult. And then, you got all this Koberger stuff around PA. There's just a lot of PA stuff going on around there. The Zizians murked some people in PA. Down by Philly.
Yeah.
They got him.
I hear the same narrative, and I played a video of it down here in a murder case where it was a guy in a mask with a knife, and it was like they twist the same narrative around and around and around. And that's why I say I'm surprised that they didn't retire that narrative with Koberger.
No, it's a productive narrative. It's a productive narrative.
It's getting the job done, right?
You don't. Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, you ain't gonna fix it, there, King.
Yeah, I guess so. Because
especially the government.
Not a lot of people question anything. Who has the time? Other than
who
us,
has the time?
I'll
tell you who has the time. The Gooch. The Gooch has got.
Let's talk about because Gooch is something I didn't even get to bring up on Dago's podcast yesterday.
You bring up Gooch
because
stuff?
I was getting pinned against the wall that the families got handed back urns instead of bodies. And
we already kind of knew that, though, right?
Yeah, no, I was trying to explain it to them, and I was met with dissension in the ranks, and I'm gonna have to look into that. And, yeah, so it was a lot of backlash on that. And I wanted to talk about the Gooch and Mark Furman.
I'm gonna have to ask you to brace yourself. I got some brand new Gooch information for you today.
Oh, the list of stuff that you sent me is enough for 2 shows, and
I didn't even send you the Gooch stuff. I might have to say that for another time, but I got some brand new Gooch stuff for you.
No, I'd love to hear it now. Does it have anything to do with
Goochless?
Fucking ourselves, or
no? Is that nothing to do with? There's no Hitler's not involved. We're not to go fuck ourselves. This Gooch involved. He may be going to fuck himself because he's in a lot of shit, it seems.
Well, give me a taste. Let me wet my beak.
So. And as I go back and look at many elements and question marks, I drew up in my brain hole early on in the case, and throughout the whole ongoing saga of the circus here, there's a number of just different things. I'm like, well, that's weird, not necessarily relative to the murders, just relative to the time frame of activities and the locations these things are popping off.
Sure.
Much like how I reached the conclusion that FTX had to have some sort of situations popping off with this stuff and money laundering. With their money laundering bank at a Farmington State bank / Moonstone. And I concluded that long before I realized Scott Green's associations with that whole matter. Right. So in that same regard, I have a lot of other things I flagged along the way. One of which is relative to this whole idea of Iran Contra, right? The whole Iran Contra scandal. I've been calling this Idaho Contra, all this stuff going on, precipitating in and around these murders. And in that note, an incident that occurred on December 5th, the feds, remember we were talking about them cowboys and the U.S. Marshals and stuff going around December, I believe that was December 7th.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, wait, December 11th. Remember that, Nick, right? The cowboys went in the house?
Sure.
So, I've often alleged those were marshals, right? So there is a lot of, at the time I took note of a number of the marshals' activities that were going on there, right? Again, not relative to the case, just like what are the marshals doing in the area, right? So they transported 2 dudes to Whitman County Jail on December 2022.
Wait, we lost you for a second there. Say again.
So in that effort of looking at that time, I think it was December 11th, 2022, News Nation and Kathy, what would we call her? The Simpsons reporter? Christy Yamaguchi. She said someone tipped her off. She's out in front of the house for whoever tipped her off, right? She's out in front of the house, and she's like, hey, what are you all doing? And they're in there for a few minutes. They're hiding their faces. They hop back in the van. They're out of there, right? So at that time, I was like, what are the U.S.? I presume those to be marshals. I said, what? Just based upon their appearance and activities, based upon my assessment and my knowledge and experience, and so my knowledge and experience as a U.S. Air Force MP working with the U.S. Marshals, which I did a lot of. I did a lot of it in numerous capacities. I worked with them in Montana on doing nuclear convoy security because we always had to have a marshal with us. So
that's pretty big. They're a serious bunch, though. The marshals.
Oh, they're a bunch of cowboys, and I like their style. I like their style.
Cowboys, though, interesting.
That's why, that's again, he had that cowboy hat. They're known. The guys I worked with in Montana, they all wore cowboy hats all the time, despite not wearing. We're running nuclear security operations. They're just wearing like some black BDUs and a cowboy hat. That's what I'm saying. These guys are cowboys. I almost joined them a couple times because I like their style.
It's like their style.
But so I noted those guys were most likely marshals again. So
I don't know what's going on with Nick back there. It sounds fun. All right, go on, please. I'm sorry.
Long story short, I appreciate you entertaining my long story here, but I wanted to see what the marshals were doing there in Latah, Whitman County regions, the Quad County regions, at least at minimum, in November 2022. And strange enough, they were transporting a number of suspects. What is that? We under attack? We under attack? So there's numbers. They were transporting a number of suspects to Whitman County Jail, for example. On December 5th, they transported 2 federal detainees. Right,
Whitman County is north or south of Moscow.
Pullman.
It's Pullman. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So both of these individuals were indicted out of the Eastern District of Washington Federal District there in Spokane, Washington. Right. But both of them were up in jail there in Spokane, right, awaiting trial, right, in Spokane. The trial's in Spokane.
Okay, this is who the marshals were taking or picking up.
Yeah, both. This is just one example of some of the activity I flagged and stuff I wanted to discuss today with the Gooch.
Okay.
So the and the Idaho Contra concept generally. So these 2 individuals were transported to Whitman County on the afternoon of December 5th. Again, no good reason, it seems, right? They're both awaiting trial. Basically, everyone else, they were all their co-constituent or co-conspirators in 2 separate cases. These 2 individuals, 2 separate crimes, but they both had co-conspirators. All their co-conspirators pled out the deals. These guys, for whatever reason, were going to trial, and there's a lot to be said about that because I don't know where they're at today, and they're not currently prisoners in the system. They're not listed, so that's a different story altogether. But again, it goes back to this Idaho Contra concept. So one individual is in there for dealing high volumes of meth. His name is Christopher Gooch.
What?
I'm sorry. His associates, his criminal conspirator is the one transported into Whitman County. His name is Christopher Jones. Him and Christopher Gooch were dealing in large volumes of meth. Gooch also gets busted, takes a deal though, right? And his father Gooch murdered another drug dealer back in the 90s up there in Spokane. Transport. And again, this makes no sense because he gets to go back up to Spokane where he'd been sitting for months at this point. There's a fellow by the name of John Isaac, I keep forgetting his name, Sanger. John Isaac Sanger. So he's been, and this is December 2022, he's been sitting up in Spokane since he'd been arrested in April. He waived his rights to bail and everything else in May. He's been sitting up there awaiting trial. His co-conspirators in that case, they all pled out. So that case I flagged very early because when I saw that name, because he was a Air Force Security Forces MP staff sergeant, and it was him and his entire combat arms training section of the Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane were dealing in We're dealing in stolen ammo, stolen guns, silencers, etc. They all got put together. The other ones all pled out. The other ones all got bail. This fellow, they were shaken down for some reason, it seems, right? Sanger. The other thing I find interesting as well is the Air Force didn't prosecute these cases. They took the option not to prosecute through court-martial and ended up letting the feds prosecute the case, despite this all going down on an Air Force base. That's very unique. That does not happen very often. But these things are, for whatever reason, they're transporting this meth trafficker, Gooch's associate, Jones, and this Air Force staff sergeant down from Spokane to the Whitman County Jail on December 5th. And it makes no sense, but the marshals are doing a lot of that weird activity in around this time frame. At the same time, they're going into that house.
Yeah, was it December 7th or December 9th they went to the house?
Yeah, I was thinking it was December 7th, but I think that's the car. Then I was just thinking it was December 11th. What's the reporter's name again? Christy Yamaguchi?
Toyota Kawasaki, I think was this. The best one is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when Dee was trying to be a sassy Puerto Rican reporter.
Oh, that's great.
What's up with that? What's that? She'd be like, "What's up with that?" And then Charlie would come through in the green suit and throw the ball at their face, and he's like, he was scared to throw it at the big guy, so he threw it at her. He kicked his ass anyway. Oh shit!
Legendary episode. But yeah, y'all remember, like, so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of weird activity, right? If you want to look again as an Idaho Contra situation, you got this epicenter of what seems to be people who are cooperating and being shook down by the feds for some reason versus their co-conspirators. You know, maybe the Gooch thing has a reason why he started some charges, perhaps, right? Because he's a Gooch. But his co-conspirator in this huge meth operation, Jones, was, he was clearly getting shook down, and for some reason getting shook down and moved to Whitman County for some reason. It seems. Same goes for, the staff sergeant there from Fairchild Air Force Base. There's a lot more to that story. So they got him for stealing a bunch of rounds and some guns and
from an armory at the Air Force.
Yeah, but the Air Force doesn't deal in silencers, and these fellas had a bunch of silencers on them. And the undercover ATF officer that busted this fellow Sanger, the one they were shaking down in Whitman County on December 5th, doing whatever they're doing with them down there, right, on this needless transport to nowhere. Right along with this meth trafficker from the same prison down to this other prison together. It's just strange. Sanger there, he was getting busted for buying a silencer. Well, they got busted with, half a dozen silencers. Why would he need to go buy a silencer from this ATF guy? He was selling silencers, right? There's so much more to that story. I'm telling you right now, because I used to, these are programs I can tell you firsthand. I used to manage the ammo, the money, the weapons for the Air Force Security Forces at the headquarters in D.C. So these are things I'm innately familiar with, how these operations work, and just in my experience as well. The Air Force did not prosecute these men. They let the feds do it. And I don't know if out of the airmen, I don't know if the other 5 took deals and that's why they all walked and Sanger didn't. But Sanger seemed to have a lot more information. They wanted Sanger for a reason. Again, they targeted Sanger as the initial bust in the matter over some silencers, again, that he did not need.
Now, JJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but marshals are a people. They're like basically what I call a Fed bail bondsman. They're a people locator. They track down fugitives and they bring them in to justice, right? For the most part.
Bread and butter, yes, sir.
So,
bread and butter.
What on earth are they doing if they're marshals going into 1122? And here's one note I will add about that whole situation is it did feel like we're doing you a favor, we'll do a once over on it, and then we got to go out of town. It was a hush hush, hustle hustle, move, give me, just a vague walkthrough. And you got to think that house has been closed up for now a month or so, and it's got to have a pretty good odor in there, right? No masks.
Sure.
And no smelling, nothing. And they were very careful about how much they opened the door. Was it an SUV or was it a van? It was a van they got into.
It was a
right?
van.
And
van.
The guy barely opened it enough for him to get in and out, so we couldn't see what was inside. And that's why I say that maybe the gentlemen that went into the house themselves weren't as important as what was in the van.
It's certainly possible. I've heard these
or possibly who
examples.
was in the van. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I've heard these theories before. It's certainly possible. I mean, but I think what we can deduce from just looking at the situation, and this is again my assessment at least, is those were U.S. Marshals working. So you pointed out they track down fugitives. That is, they do that. They do witness protection stuff. They also, upon occasions and upon special assignment, we see a lot of special prosecutors in this case, right? Idaho Special States Prosecutors, Idaho Special Prosecutor now Hurwitz, You know what I mean? He's now joined the special prosecutor team, like the special, like short bus special, but they call themselves special. But so we see a lot of that stuff. And one thing the marshals can do is be put on special assignment by the U.S. attorney that they work for. So there's, for every U.S. federal district, there's a U.S. attorney in charge and there's a U.S. marshal in charge. The U.S. marshal in charge is technically, just reports directly to that U.S. attorney. And that U.S. attorney can and has done this many times, that they put them on special assignment for certain, specific purposes. Those men may have been tasked out from the Eastern District of Washington in Spokane, U.S. Attorney Office, to simply go take an analysis of the circumstances going on down there, right? Maybe they didn't buy it. Maybe because they're not going to be in the know, right? They're not in the chain of command on the Idaho side. They're not pulling the FBI Idaho side. That's U.S. Attorney Hurwitz. So this Washington Eastern District attorney, their U.S. Attorney in Spokane, they may have been sending those marshals down there just to figure out what the hell's going on, because, for whatever reason, marshals from that same office were transporting these two very, very odd suspects, or not, convicted, meth trafficker and guns trafficker, down to the Whitman County Jail for holding, awaiting trial. But again, these men were already waiting trial in Spokane, and there's not really any great purpose. And both of them, again, following up on both of their cases, not to go into great detail, I have a lot of questions. There's a lot of stuff going on with these two men.
So what specialty would they have to go out of their normal routine and be requested or sequestered into doing a walkthrough of this house that you could conjecture? I know we don't know.
That's what I'm saying. If we're looking at like an Idaho Contra type situation, and this person's like, they're not in the know with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Spokane, right? They want to know what's going on over there in Idaho. They want to know what's going on with these murders associated with all of this hood rat activity that's popping off in the area, right? I mean, there's probably a lot of factors we don't know the puzzle pieces to. I'm just trying to paint a broad spectrum of the activities as I see that are going on there. So if there's all these different quote unquote Idaho Contra stuff, you got the drugs, trafficking, high volumes, you got the guns and ammo and silencers and night vision, all that shit, all seen in Iran Contra, all exhibited by these two men that were transferred to the Whitman County Jail on December 5th out of that Spokane office.
So when you say the Iran, hey Nick, are you back? When you say Iran Contra, you're talking about the smuggling and selling of guns by the government and weapons to foreign adversaries, actually, right? Noriega.
Yeah, sadly in this instance, I think it's gone way south, and it's working with the Mexican drug cartel.
Because there was across the nation a bust of officers that were selling confiscated weapons to criminals, and Idaho had 2 of them. Let me move that thing off your face, Nick. Hi, Nick.
No, I seen that, and again, to put this into context, the elements I just described with these 2 federal convicts and inmates that were transported to Whitman County on December 5th, 2022, for holding there for some time, an undisclosed amount of time, because they're not clear. No one else has been clear of when they got transported out of there. Not Whitman County, not anywhere else they got transported to. And where they exist today in the federal court system, also not clear. But that's a different story altogether. So, yeah. But what I'm getting at with that situation is, you got one of them, Jones, the meth trafficker, his co-constituent or co-conspirator in that meth trafficking, in that crime he's there for, was Christopher Gooch out of Spokane, a Gooch.
So yeah, we started there. Let's circle back. Do we have any connection to Detective Gooch?
I haven't done the genealogy yet, sir, but it is an interesting perspective, because you look up the Gooch's sentencing documents. Again, Jones's sentencing documents, nowhere to be seen. Sealed, it appears, right? Sealed.
We see that a lot in these drug trafficking cases, where
we see a lot in Idaho case.
You know what fascinates me so much? And Bubbly Waters did a piece. I wish we had a longer show today, but I do have to stop in about an hour to work and to let Dinky do his thing. This is the Dinky pregame show here today. But anyway, the what was I talking about?
The sealing of court cases?
No. The Gooch.
The Gooch.
Okay. And so Is that a popular name, Gooch? You don't hear it a lot. I've heard Good. Gooch.
I mean, there's a Gooch. There's two Gooch branches in America. I know this because I actually descend back in the Jamestown era of Virginia from the Gooches of Virginia. They were a Jamestown family of Virginia.
Nick, does JJ have any families that he's not connected to? Is there one?
I don't think so.
We need to do a genealogy on who he's not connected to.
So the pioneering Gooches of Idaho, pioneering Mormon family Gooches of Idaho, are all from the Boston Mayflower branch of the Gooches.
Back to the Mayflower.
Yeah, but so Vicky Gooch's husband and all the other Gooches I found in Idaho thus far are all from the pioneering Gooch families of the Mayflower origins.
I had it. I had what I was talking about. Damn.
We lost it again.
I something happened in my brain.
If you recall, Vicky Gooch's husband's ancestor Gooch, the original pioneering Mormon guy, pioneered over across America with the Mortensen fellas. So
is this a Mortensen, Gooch, Hatfield, McCoy situation, maybe? And that's what.
You know what? We can't rule it out, right? We can't rule that out, can we?
I think the more important connection is to find the relation to the DA. As for we know, Mortensen's mother or stepmother is a attorney,
right?
But we still don't know if her uncle or whatever or cousin is a district attorney. And this is where
I can answer that for you, sir.
Excellent.
If I may close my point out though on the guns trafficking stuff you're
Please
talking
do,
about,
yeah.
I did look into the trafficking of guns that you car trunk trafficking of guns that you were discussing. That certainly seems indicative of a larger problem. But here's what I can tell you though about Fairchild Air Force Bases. The entire combat arms and armory section of Fairchild Air Force Base, the military police officers, NCOs that were assigned to these positions, were stealing tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition, guns, night vision goggles, and apparently silencers. Silencers which the Air Force does not have in its inventory. So I want to know what those dudes were doing and what kind of trafficking they were involved in and why they put the ringleader of that operation in Whitman County Jail on December 5th. That's my notable thing of want to understand gun trafficking in that area is understand that. Because I assure you, that took a lot of folks looking the other way for that stuff to happen on an Air Force base and an armory. I'll tell you that much right now.
So
you
there's.
Can tell me it's all.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying you can say it's all 6 members of the armory and combat arms, maintenance and training section. That's fine. However, other folks do inspections on that stuff, so
So there's no suppression systems at all within the Air Force whatsoever?
Well, that's the other thing. OSI investigated it. They're listed in their documents and court record as being an investigator in the case, but the Air Force didn't prosecute it. And that's very rare. For example, I got a DUI one time, and they tried to prosecute me both in the off base. And they tried to prosecute me on base for the same charge, and I rose hell over the matter because that's obviously a violation of my Fifth Amendment rights to the U.S. Constitution and my rights to avoid double jeopardy.
That's ridiculous. I mean, if you weren't on base, then how are they going to... Wow.
Well, you piss some people off. They get you in a tight spot. They try to jam you up. You know how these things go.
Sure, yeah. Who's going to question it other than you?
Right.
So
what? The U.S. Constitution won that day.
USA. Well, the thing
USA.
that I notice about these arrests and these people pleading out, they usually have large amounts. That's why they're making the news. B, they've done it before. They've CI'd up. They've gotten life where I am pretty sure that if I went into Moscow and I smoked a joint next to a Soviet sticker on the side of the street, I would probably get 10 years.
You're definitely suspect. If you're driving a Hyundai with those bushy eyebrows, dude, you're getting 12 years minimum.
I can't get right here with the razor. I can't.
Well, obviously being facetious, I don't think anyone has, the idea that Koberger has bushy eyebrows is ridiculous.
you would think that there was some type of reaction when she went to go look on her own for a personal lineup to see what he looked like, and there was no reaction whatsoever.
You want to see some beefy eyebrow, look up Luigi Mangione.
It could have been a raccoon that wandered through, the raccoon mask. I've given thought to this.
Raccoon?
From her consistent testimony that she had over the course of 4 days, I don't know if Gooch interviewed her all 4 days. That would just be a nice little light sidebar thing to watch as far as Mortensen getting interviewed by the Gooch. As far as I feel like there was probably some direction given with her.
I think all of it was direction, right? Do they have any of this recorded? The cop story is, we reenacted the crime. We just ran through the house and fake stabbed some air and then ran back out of the house. We said we can do it. It's possible. We took no notes, no photographs, no videos. In fact, I didn't even write a report on the matter. Y'all can go fuck yourselves.
I knew it was coming. oh shit! But no, what I notice is that these confidential informants, these people that turn on their suppliers, that's how you get a light sense. If you have a pound of crystal in your car, okay, A, you're losing your car. B, you're going to prison for life. Any state in the union, twice in Hawaii and Alaska, and then you have intent to sell, intent to traffic. You have weapons. They always have weapons, which is federal now. And then they get time served, or they get probation. And then they're put back out into the mix. And, I'm not citing Kara Kernodle in specifically, but there's case after case after case of people turning on their suppliers, and then they go back out there and they do it again, and they get busted again.
Well,
so what supplier is trusting these motherfuckers?
That's a great point, Kane. Well, who's the supplier for these guns and ammo, silencers getting trafficked out of an Air Force base?
Well, clearly it's from military to LE. In my opinion, since LE got busted with it.
I mean, they might be one of their customers. I'm not sure. I'm just saying, where are they getting the silencers, first of all? Because, again, that's not part of the Air Force. I looked up the court case. That is not in the Air Force inventory. Of, the ammo, yes, and the guns, yes, that they somehow got, kind of off the book, so to speak, unregistered. They deregistered them, so to speak. Nonetheless, they have customers. It's like a Jeffrey Epstein operation. So you mean to tell me these guys are trafficking silencers, night vision, guns, deregistered guns from an Air Force base, and stolen military 5.56 rounds, tens of thousands? You mean to tell me that these guys are doing that and there's no customers? You know what I mean?
If I'm sorry, Nick, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I'm good.
Well,
right? You all see what I'm saying there, right? It's like the
exactly,
situation, right?
Totally.
You got this guy trafficking all this stuff. Again, he's a staff sergeant. Again, the Air Force didn't prosecute him, and then for whatever reason, the marshals moved him to Whitman County on December 5th, along with that meth trafficker. There was the Gooch's, co-conspirator in meth trafficking. And again, the Gooch is out of prison today. All of Sanger, Staff Sergeant Sanger's co-conspirators in the weapons and ammo trafficking, they're all out of prison today. Both Jones and Sanger, the two men moved to Whitman County. Their court records have anomalous activity that have no clear conclusions to the matters. Neither one of them appear in any sort of prisoner search today within the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Do for that what you will.
Well, okay.
Does that mean witness protection? I don't know. I mean,
let me ask you a question there. Actually, that came up in my head, in my brain hole. Is the U.S. Marshal Service more indicative of a difficult to find fugitive, or someone that is important to the Fed or the state that is going to turn?
Both. So, I mean, there's a former CIA guy, Green Beret fellow from Vietnam, Viet fucking Nam. He worked for like Edward Lansdale. Nick knows about Edward Lansdale. His name was John Hand.
I know that name, John Hand. Yeah.
The famous Nugan Hand Bank. It was a pre-Iran Contra. This was an early domino in that whole line of shit. So he was the director of a bank in Australia, along with an Australian lawyer. And the Australian lawyer commits suicide. The bank evaporates $500 million, and John Hand disappears into the ether. 25 years later, an Australian journalist finds him living in Post Falls, Idaho, living in Idaho Falls, Idaho, under the name John Michael. So I would argue if it's not the CIA, it's the marshals that are hiding him up there. Someone's hiding him up there, and Idaho's good with this activity. Because that was an internationally wanted fugitive, John Hand. He was up on charges in Australia. I think he escaped from. I think he went to. I believe he was brought on some charges. If I'm not mistaken, he was still under investigation when he went the way of Houdini and said poof. But yeah, I think they hide people. They hide people real well. It's the people they hide that don't always hide themselves, right, Kane?
My point is that you have these people getting off of these hosts of charges within the circle of the Idaho 4. You have Foley or whatever. You have Cornado. You have also Xana's ex-boyfriend, who has a litany of charges that he's more or less walked away from. And when I say birds of a feather kind of quacks like a duck, what was she doing? When you're a girl, when you're a pretty girl, you can date whoever you want. You have your choice, right? You know. But when you decided,
I understand what you're saying.
I'm saying when you dress up as a girl, JJ. Nick, you're muted, Barbie by the way, just in case you didn't know. I don't. Are you muted? Anyway, so
is this with my Barbie Jeep?
I have pictures. Damn it! Beep beep. How did you like that Barbie picture? By the way.
No, I think it's hilarious.
Okay, I would love to see people's faces when they get to see my thumbnail sometimes. Anyway, when you're a pretty girl, you get to. So what is your reasoning? And I have seen it firsthand, and I can tell you, for dating somebody who's slanging. To be close to it, to have access to, I don't find a lot of good girls fall in love with a guy who's dealing and just hang around. Oh, he'll change. I can change. That's not somebody you go in after, you know.
I hear you, and he's got a lot of hood rat shit in his immediate associations with his family, murders and whatnot, and robberies and general hood rat shit. So I know you're bringing up some good points, but this is what I mean by Idaho Contra. So like, when you look at Iran Contra, you're like, how the fuck is this crackhead from South Central Los Angeles named Freeway Ricky Ross, the original one, not the gay rapper? How is he friends with the Secretary of State of Nicaragua, right? That Dino Blandino fella, who he was the ousted Secretary of State from Nicaragua, who he was the main connection between the CIA, who he was working for, Blandino was, to raise money for Iran Contra for the Nicaraguan rebels, the ones that, his people that got outed, thrown out by the communists. Well, that dude, how's Freeway Ricky Ross and him is directly associated with one another? You know what I mean? Which was proven by Gary Webb's investigations in series. So these make strange bedfellows. That's what I'm saying. So we're putting on a whole lot of hood rat shit going on in Idaho. Well, you need some local hood rat shit when you're bringing in an outer network, right? You need some Freeway Ricky Ross activity on the local side.
Well, they have it top to bottom. Okay, so you have the fraternities where their whole image is this gangster shit. And then you even have, now I know this works against a pretty imperfect narrative, and I'm not trying to tear anybody down, but you also have Dylan's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever it may be, that is his father's in prison, his father's his big hero. he also said that he'd never been to Moscow when he, I guess, allegedly was in Moscow that weekend. So you have, here's another suspect. You're bringing in, you're rolling out a whole new carpet with this Iran Contra shit. Is this something, I guess, getting to your final point?
Yeah, well, I'm happy to unpack more as I do. This is all recent discoveries in these elements as I consider these larger comparisons to Iran Contra again. So I'm taking a comparative analysis with, like I did with the OJ case or with the Manson style murders, and doing that with Iran Contra, and again, it makes a lot of sense. It brings all these seemingly disparate elements together. It puts the Secretary of State from Nicaragua, so to speak, with the local crackhead. You know what I mean? I'm saying that obviously metaphorically speaking, but in the Idaho sense, it's slightly different, obviously. But the one thing that troubles me is the Air Force did not prosecute that case. The Air Force did investigate that case with an OSI investigator, Office of Special Investigations. They do the felon stuff, the big time felon stuff, and for the Air Force. And the Air Force didn't prosecute it in court martials. And again, I told you the Air Force is court martial heavy. They try to get me for a Dewey, on base, even though I'd already been convicted off base. You know what I mean? So the idea that they're just gonna be like, yeah, we're not gonna court martial these guys, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. It's not a thing. So
there was pressure from somewhere else.
Correct, sir. Some sort of
make that happen.
Pressure.
Again, strings being pulled, and in the military, you probably see that over and over, especially as a military police officer during your career. You take these people down, arrest people. I got this good, and then all of a sudden they're walking.
Right, and this is a case that involves the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, and the OSI. So why are all of these agencies involved with this Air Force out? Who everybody?
Oh, we lost you, JJ. You're breaking up. Oh, where'd you go? Damn it. Nick, you're also muted as well. We call it swamp Purge. I was trying to tell you earlier. There, JJ, you back?
Is this the Purge?
We're purging, bud.
I'm binging.
Yeah, so you have all these federal agencies involved in that weapons and trafficking case out of an Air Force base. The Air Force doesn't prosecute it. Everybody walks. The guy that they're clearly focusing on is the ringleader in the operation from the onset of the man arrested first and the man they gave the most charges to, and the only one they did not let out on bail. They held him over, and they transferred him to Whitman County. That was in May of 2022. And it's from May to December, he sat in Spokane, and for whatever reason, the U.S. Marshals took him and that meth trafficker, the co-constituent of Gooch, and took Jones and Stanger down to the staff sergeant down to Whitman County. So I'm just saying there's a lot of dynamics going on there that seem to indicate a larger federal situation popping off on the Washington side, not just Hurwitz on the Idaho side with the grand jury of Coburger. So it's the guns, though, that worry me, Kane. It's the guns. What is all that about? Because there's a lot more going on there. And when the Air Force walks on the case, and then suddenly everybody on the case, all the the criminal constituents walk, with the exception of this one guy who I can't find a definitive closure to his case, nor can I find him in prison, despite I can find an announcement of the sentencing and a plea agreement he took in December of 2023 that says he's going to do 2 years. So that means he should be in prison until December of 2025. However, I assure you, he does not appear in the Bureau of Prisons search of prisoners.
Oh.
Okay, JJ.
That's my summary if that works out.
I dig it. And let's switch gears real quick and the thing I really like about having you on the show is my strengths and my weaknesses, and one of them is discussing my ex-girlfriends. I really enjoy doing that with you, and I thank you for listening.
Nice. I thought it was my affinity for the gooch.
Listen.
I bring you new gooch stuff every time these days, right? I came at you out of left field today with some new gooch stuff.
That is, yeah. That was unexpected even for you, and so let's talk about
an unexpected goochin'.
Let's talk about the other gooch, Anthony Sorensen, that you sent me today, or yesterday, and let's switch it up to the notary public that we discussed that I wasn't able to bring up on Dago's show the other day here, and I have the document that you sent me on the screen right now.
Yup.
If you can't
I believe
see.
it says Anthony Sorensen, but his legal name is Lucifer Morning Star. And you and Jen told me about him the other day, and I'd never heard of him before.
And there was an LLC involved with the Lucifer Morning Star that was a notary public in Moscow.
Yeah, so he notarizes the sale of all the homes, right? Isn't that the deal? He notarizes the sale of all the homes.
Correct.
Around
right.
1122.
And you have a very Mormon-sounding name. So this is the last name. I won't say the first name of my ex-girlfriend that was from Salt Lake, but Sorensen is a very popular Mormon name. She's a MILF now. But this is...
So the best of my understanding, he is not he is not a Mormon. I did a background on him. He's a transplant. He's from Texas by way of Florida. Now, strangely enough, and I'm fairly certain he lived there before Othram opened, but strangely enough, when I say he's from Texas, he grew up 6 miles down the road from Othram Labs. He would later go to college nearby at Sam Houston State University, just north of Othram Labs, by about 30 minutes. Then he would go to Washington State University for PhD, as you can see in his LinkedIn. And then in July, I think it was July 2022, he changes his name to Lucifer Morning Star. But he is an employee today still at the Washington State University. So then if you look up Lucifer Morning Star, this individual who notarized those sales of the homes, the 1122 and other King Road homes there, the notarized the documents of these, well, maybe not 1122, but the ones nearby, right? Notarized the documents in the immediate aftermath of the 1122 transactions. And this address here, so you look up Lucifer Morning Star, and deed is the notary public, registered with the state of Idaho. And if you go to the address where it's registered to, that's registered to a woman who's a research assistant at the University of Idaho. That's her home, that was her home address. She now has moved. She owns that address under now her rental properties company. So she owns a rentals properties. So she has some associations with Lucifer Morning Star in those environments with rental properties and notaries. I haven't quite tracked down what documents he notarized for her. I'm not sure what the Dark Lord notarized for this woman, but she is an employee at the University of Idaho, and her father was a major rocket engineer. Southern California Nazi NASA style.
Here we
and
go.
At one point in time was a director of DARPA. Her mother invented codes that were the early onset to ARPANET, which was the internet.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, her parents are big time. And Lucifer, the Dark Lord here, likes to notarize stuff for her and her rental properties. Again, she's an employee at the University of Idaho as a research assistant. He's in the research assistant capacity. None of these folks are making that kind of cash to be slinging around rental properties. Again, I don't know, maybe the Dark Lord's got some some secondary cash flow on his off time. I'm not sure. However, I looked at where he's living, and it ain't nice.
What do you think, Nick? I see you laughing over there.
I think it's... Well, I was laughing at his audio, so it sounded weird, but I find the whole thing fucking bizarre. Like Lucifer Morningstar, what the hell makes you change it like your name?
That's what stands out to me, is that in any other case, in any other world, if you changed your name to Lucifer Morningstar, it would be the page 2 of the Sunday paper. Weird man decides to change name, thinks he's the Antichrist, or something, some story along these lines. But this is done.
It's bizarre.
And then the whole connection JJ just said at the end, it's off. There's something wrong there. I just find
Kane, can you put up the name change on the screen? Some folks in the chat were looking at the name change. No, I agree, Nick. We've been tracking a lot of that NASA stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is again. Yeah, even when you said NASA, I mean, I don't care. I'll say it. I do think, and it's something I would like to eventually get into when I have more time. I do think that I actually think NASA's behind some of the true crime propaganda. Actually, Or they're behind the true crime. There's something going on.
That's been
There's a lot of true crime we have touched on, which you probably don't, you may not notice normally, but eventually you're like, why the fuck is NASA constantly popping up in small little areas somewhere? Constantly.
For
A
sure.
lot of cases we've covered.
Well, do you?
Kylie Rodney, NASA.
Yeah, we gotta look more into that one because you keep reminding me about Kylie Rodney, and then I keep forgetting there was NASA stuff involved too.
I think there's NASA involved with, with the Idaho 4. There's NASA involved with the Scythians. There was NASA, I think, involved with people from the Smiley Face Killers. Suppose those deaths.
Big time. The head of DARPA's son was murdered in Austin. Remember?
Yep.
Smiley Face Killer style.
Now, I do have.
Yeah, there's a lot of deaths that have NASA attached to it somehow.
That dude's dad would have most certainly known Homegirl's dad because he was an assistant director.
Oh yeah, right.
Right.
Oh man.
What a DARPA. This is the Dark Lord Kane. I think at the bottom of that email I sent you included his name from Latall County. I can bring it up.
It doesn't show his name.
Doesn't show a date.
It just shows Lucifer Morning Star. Hold on. I'm sorry.
I'll send you it again, but I'm not going to lie to you. If I send you it again, I'm just going to send you a picture.
Oh, now I see it. Now I see. I didn't show the right part. I've got it.
I'm bringing it up right now, sir. If you don't have it, I got it right here.
Yeah, you can present it too, but it's over here. Here it is. I've got it. So it's Lucifer Morning Star, status active, Moscow, and Travelers Casualty Surety Company. It never says Sorensen though that I see in this particular
I'm looking
search.
at the bottom of the email. I think maybe I didn't include it, so I apologize if I didn't. But it is Latall County, case number CV2921. So it's 2021, 6/11/2021.
Okay, I don't have that one.
Name change. Judicial Officer Megan Marshall.
Oh wow.
Petitioner.
I even found that weird how you get like an M. I mean, I'm sure that's just purely coincident, but MM is like so huge with Masons, good cult symbols, that lady's initials.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a made up name, doesn't it? But have you read, seen, or heard?
The Dark Lord himself here changes his name from Anthony Philip Sorensen II to Lucifer Morning Star. So why he still goes by Anthony Sorensen today, I think brings another mystery element to the situation, right, fellas? Because if it's not only he changes his legal name to Lucifer Morning Star, clearly signs things that professionally, right? It's that he's going by his old name. He's dead naming himself over there on campus in that employment because I verified he's listed as Anthony Sorensen on their registry, not Lucifer Morning Star. So he's obviously up to something with this name change. What it is, it's bizarre if you ask me. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna do it, just you do it, and you just everyone, how you doing, Lucifer? Good day, Lucifer.
Well,
this guy's playing both worlds with it, man. What's going on here?
You don't call me Lucifer. That's something that they came up in a wacky morning DJ show contest. Will you change your name to Lucifer Morning Star for $5,000? Come on down. We said the word penis.
Right?
And
that does sound like that would be on the morning zoo with Kane B.
That's next, right after business as usual. But now, have you read, seen, or heard? I was going to say that there was a lot of conjecture. I don't remember what directions, but a lot of people believed that the footage from I think it was a bank or something that the Christ Church owned on Main Street with Maddie and Kaylee and allegedly Jack Showalter walking the street. What did you tell Adam? That the way that their limbs move, anyway, basic bottom line was that footage was altered by NASA. The word NASA, and this is the second time that I've heard somebody put in that conjecture.
I like that idea, Kane. I apologize for stepping in there. I like that idea. Did you know that NASA and Disney were involved in video?
In what video? I'm sorry, you star linked out.
The infamous Delphi Guy video, and Disney were stated by Indiana State Police to have enhanced the Bridge Guy video.
Yeah, okay, I do remember
NASA
that.
And Disney.
I'm still so blown away that the entire footage. Is that Willie?
So, but back to
Dylan's
what Nick and I
guilty
were
as
just talking
sin.
about
I
before
love
there.
it.
Why is NASA so involved in true crime? I don't know why I started sounding like
I've
Jerry
never
Seinfeld there
before
for a
this
second.
day,
Didn't mean
honestly,
to.
I was this many years old when I heard
What
that.
is wrong with NASA true crime?
What what's up with that?
What's up with
Why?
Why did it? Why did Katy Perry take peanuts on the flight? Welcome in, Willie. How you doing?
Seinfeld impressions.
We can't hear Willie yet. Is your mic on, bro? Willie's over there. Hopefully we get him in here in a second.
Welcome to the Purge.
Yo, what was this guy's name again? That it was originally Lucifer MorningStar.
Anthony Sorensen.
Biff Tannen.
How do you spell that? Like his last name?
SOREN. Wait, let me pull it back up again, just for everybody's. If you. Oh, we lost Willie. Try again, Willie. Here. I don't know if it's. There he is. There you go. We hear you now. What's up, brother? Hey, how you doing, man?
Welcome to the Purge.
Good to see you, man. I've missed you. On the last one.
I just saw it.
Yeah, we were on a panel last night on. I was taking some heat for my house was torn down and the bodies were burned theory, wasn't I, last night from Eddie?
That shit was funny. This whole fucking case got flipped on his head, dude.
Oh, really?
In my opinion.
Okay. No, that's what I'm asking. Let's see what you got for us.
Hell yeah, bro. We know Dylan saw Xana laying there 2 times now before 911 was called. We got multiple weapons used. We got people attacked at the same time. There's a lot.
No, I agree. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. We got the timeline change again.
Yeah.
1:45 to now. Ethan and Xana aren't home at 2 a.m. during these food discussions.
Yeah, they're not home.
We have alleged confirmation of life of Madison and Kaylee during these food discussions that we just now learned about.
Yeah. And it was so bad that Steve G had to go on Drunk Turkey yesterday.
What was up with that?
I watched that last night, yep.
Heather literally put out a video, and in it Steve G says, "Oh, well, that's good, because Kaylee doesn't have to go to court now." And she's like, "Is Steve AI over there? Is he trolling us with that shit?"
I saw that.
And I couldn't help but laugh.
He's definitely trolling. Whether or not it's AI, it's definitely trolling, right?
He
says.
Yeah, he would rather be the news than watch the news. I'll give him that.
Well,
yeah, he's basically saying, like, he knows information that nobody knows. Is what he's implying.
Again, no disrespect to the grieving father, but again, he cites Howard Bloom again last night as some bastion of knowledge in this case.
Imagine that.
And that is statements from Howard Bloom from the grand jury, members of the grand jury from June of 2023. First of all, those members of the grand jury by law cannot talk to anybody. So whether or not they're talking to Howard Bloom and Steve G that's interesting. No one's taking any action in that matter, and that's.
I just think it's funny because I said, I don't know, a couple days. I'm sure somebody here heard me. I said, watch next like the next drop or whatever the next thing that comes out that kind of shows what really happened. Immediately, you're going to see a channel kind of try to sway the audience to not look over there, and that's exactly what happened, bro. As soon as that came out, it was like, oh, Steve G's coming on drunk, and that was like the talk of the town. Everything's what Steve said yesterday is like what everybody gives a shit about instead of what's in these documents. It's wild, dude. Like clockwork. It's like clockwork.
That's why I got this new clock, Willie, because just for that reason, it projects the time. Thank you, Tom Campbell, for telling me what it does. And I can blind the Drunk Turkey show from 50 yards with this laser. But it's got all the colors of Moscow. And so that's why I got it. Just because you can set your clock by these motherfuckers' distractions and smoke and mirrors game that they do. Are you and Dinky not going live today, Will?
Oh, I don't go live. I haven't been live in a while, but I don't know if Dinky's going live. He hasn't been live. He's been live like once or twice since he came back. So I don't know if he's going live or not. I don't think he's going live. Does it say he's going live? Oh, let me check.
Yeah, I thought I saw something scheduled for 5:45, and we're coming up here on the Purge at the 5:45 hour. I have a new laser clock that tells you that it's true. It's not 2:18. Is it 2:18 anywhere in the world? Maybe it is. Yeah, it's
Pacific times.
I just plugged it in. I didn't set it. It is a
He's going
Moscow.
It is a projection.
Moscow time, right?
Clock. So Moscow time would be. Yeah, no, I guess it would be. You're right. So that's Moscow time almost. The Moscow time is ding 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 ding. Jen's here. Okay, now we're really.
Oh shit!
There we go.
That was fun.
Jen who?
Criminal Confidential, Jen.
So he's the one who got me started on the Lucifer MorningStar. You and Jenny tonight.
Listen, Jen is smarter than I look, and she puts some really great stuff out there, and she does it all on her own. I just sit here and I wait for the stuff to get on my desk.
So I think what we're identifying with Lucifer, the Dark Lord himself. There's some weird real estate transactions.
Smarter than I look.
Strategic analysis there. There's some weird real estate transactions popping off in and around the area, right?
Involving Hitler. Don't forget Eagle Investments.
Involving his firm out of Boise.
Yes.
Right? So that may in fact be why we have Hitler in the scene, because as I pointed out before on paper, he does not make any sense for the state to select him as the one from Ada County to take the case. So it's not, they could shift cases around, judges do that. They're like, no, Hitler's the man. So much like Brett Payne, we're like, why did they pick that guy? So that could be why Hitler's in the case, right? That could be it right there. And on that same note, the Kathy Mabut, her son was deep up in the state tax assessor's office for all real estate. He was the property appraiser for the state. He was previously the property appraiser for the assessor's office in Latall County, dating back to 2001. So he had a lot of information about a lot of real estate stuff and the values of such when he suddenly died in a Boise hotel in December of 2023.
You think he was a Lions Club member too?
In fact, I know he was a Lions Club member. I looked it up.
Lions Club. Is that the like the He-Man Woman Haters Club or the Water Buffaloes?
Now, he's not a Mabut. Mabut's her second husband. But Mabut and her husband are both members of the Lions Club, as Nick and I have discussed in the past. But yes, her son is, I think, was maybe a Lions or maybe it was Elks. He was definitely one of the two.
Which might as well just be an offshoot of the Masons, am I right?
They all are, basically.
But did y'all know he died in December 2023 and he was deep in this real estate stuff within the state of Idaho?
Everybody does, bro. Pneumonia.
Yeah, no, it was natural causes, and they found his body in 6 different bags on the side of the road.
But it was a suicide.
He died. Yeah, he died in his sleep. They just say he died in his sleep. There's no information about it. Maybe his mom did the autopsy. I don't know.
So one thing, there's a lot of judges in Ada County. Hitler happens to be one. There's a lot of judges. And I could tell you exactly how many, because I'm going to pull up the documents here in a second just to read some of the stuff that came out. But
let me just ask quick, JJ, have you read the new docs?
I did, and I've listened to people read them. More importantly, I get better retention.
Me and you saw them, and we saw kind of the main one, last night.
Yeah, as it unfolded live.
I'm just wondering if JJ saw any of this. Have you seen anything, bro?
Yeah, JJ did too.
Oh, okay.
I texted him first right away.
I read it all. I read it all. It all has one general message to me, though.
What was that message again?
It's the overarching message of Hitler's attitude in life in general, it seems, and that is, you're a bunch of dumbasses. The jury can figure it out for themselves. Go fuck yourselves.
It doesn't get old for me. I don't know why. I've watched that uploaded video like 50 times. I swear to God. Because it's great because I don't get it the first 2 times. The first time you say it, I'm in mid-sentence and I'm like, wait a sec. There's something to that. You just stumped me. And I completely forgot what I was saying, which isn't a surprise. And then you say it one more time, and I'm like, yeah. And then you say it the third time when Jen's asking, and I lose it. I literally, my face turned eggplant purple.
And he's still doing it, right? Because he sealed the jury instructions in witness.
Yeah, he don't want to fucking be there, dude.
Yeah, well, he doesn't at all. That's what. Yeah, and maybe this real estate stuff, like Kane's pointing out, he is of the firm that represented these real estate transactions.
People are fucking soulless pigs.
They're used to it though. They're used to dancing around, and they think that they're going to be eating caviar and fish sticks at the end of this whole trial, laughing about how they pulled it off.
As a father to a fucking daughter, okay? Let me tell you something, my friend. If she had any fucking roommate, now people want to say, oh, they weren't really friends. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Okay? She saw her laying there in a dead fucking position, right? When you die, you don't you don't put yourself in a fetal position or any kind of position that you try to get into when you're sick or drunk. When she saw Xana laying there, bro, she was dead as a doornail. I don't want to hear this bullshit where she thought she was drunk. Horse shit. Horse shit. And then the next day they go in when it's light out. Hunter goes to get a knife. Dylan sees her again in the light, thinks she's passed out again. Now there's light. Are you kidding me?
The knife thing is the first thing I've heard that sounds like a natural reaction that I can actually believe.
That was my rant. Sorry.
Oh, no, go on. Keep going. I love it.
I'm just pissed, bro. Like, these fucking people take us as suckers, and you have this chick. It's fucking what she is. You have this fucking chick who gave this bullshit story to law enforcement that they ate up like a bunch of fat kids, and then let her go to a hotel with the other witness, come back and change her goddamn story, and everything's fucking fact now. Laying out the timeline.
They literally, yeah. They based the whole timeline around what
it
seems
makes you
like.
wonder who created the timeline. Was it the law enforcement, or was it the quote unquote surviving roommates or victims there? How Hitler wants to phrase it now. Because I would argue it's law enforcement. They're the ones who drove that narrative. Of course it's law enforcement.
They're not smart enough. Fucking 2 20-year-old girls, what do? They texted at like different times of night to show that this is all put in place by law enforcement. They wanted Dylan to go along with this. That's why they kind of backed off of her a little bit and didn't look at her as a suspect, because they know they needed her help to paint this bullshit picture that we now have in front of us. I don't know, man. It's just mad because I'm a father to it, and my only child is my daughter, and like I'm telling you right now, bro, if that happened and like this shit came out yesterday and it concludes that somebody saw my daughter dead and didn't call 911, and in my head I know that the response time supposedly is 8 fucking seconds for these law enforcement officers, and nobody called to help my daughter, that should piss people off, bro.
That's not an issue for Steve G, though, was it?
Not at all.
It's not his fucking daughter, is it?
Well, his daughter got murdered, sure.
Yeah, he don't give a shit. Wasn't his daughter that was seen by Dylan, so who gives a fuck? It's disgusting, man.
Either it doesn't matter if it was the one seen by her or not. I mean, she's in the house. I'm just saying this 8-hour gap has never mattered to him. It's never mattered to you. There was a post, I believe, early on by Ethan Chapin's aunt by marriage, married to Ethan Chapin's uncle. She posted she was worried about that timeline, that Dylan had a lot of questions to be answered, but and that was her that posted it. That much could be confirmed, but I've seen no other evidence of anyone giving a shit.
I'm just saying, close your eyes, imagine Dylan on the stand and walking back and forth saying, so you were telling the jury that you left your room at 4:20, whatever. You turned and saw Xana lying in the hallway dead. Is that correct? Like,
I'm going to have to imagine that, Willie, because based upon what the state's arguing, they want to use the 911 call and her statements as her only witness, quote unquote, witness statements at trial. So they haven't said it outright or expressly yet, but they're arguing in the direction of they don't want her there present and physically at the trial in the first place.
Well, that's too damn bad.
Is it? Because they get their way, don't they? Especially when
Why? She still gets to get cross-examined.
That's too damn bad. I'm laughing.
That's what I'm saying.
I have an audio clip.
Remember that from, bro? Can you tell me that's from, dude?
Examination of balance. FBI agent Nick Balance.
Yeah, fuck
that'll be done
Balance,
outside that'll be done outside the purview of the jury, sir. That's what I'm saying. They're going to keep playing all of these games with that. I will not be surprised if they try to have a trial without Bethany or Dylan present.
They're adept.
How can you do that? You need them to establish your timeline. They have to be present.
Well, the state's already arguing in that last hearing that they want the only statements to be admitted from Dylan and Bethany to be the 911 call and their written report statements.
Oh, well.
Really?
He's a witness. They put in the PCA. She saw the killer. Now she's not going to get on the stand. Oh, try that.
I suspect Hippler may give them their way, and Hippler's already said, much like Bill Thompson has said, the PCA does not matter. So they're going to continue on that trend, it seems.
Yeah,
Thompson said that expressly, trying to argue. He said that expressly. Hippler's now just adding his own opinion to the PCA, kind of bending some facts.
That's what's the craziest thing about it, bro, is all that is Hitler talk. Basically, Hitler, I don't think it's Hitler talking, but it is basically the judge, making up a story even more for Dylan. It's like, what the fuck?
That's exactly what's going on. I also agree with you. I don't think it's Hitler talking either. Yeah, someone else wrote that for him.
Hell no. You don't look at the guy that sit down and write that much shit.
Well, if you're talking real estate transactions, medical malpractice, Stephen Hippler is your guy. Other than that, he's just going to tell you the jury's not a bunch of dumbasses. You all can go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Yo, I gotta get going, guys.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Thanks for being here, Nick. I'm sorry we didn't get more to squeeze out of your juice tree.
No, it was awesome.
But we'll we got plenty of time in the future. Long way to go here.
Hell yeah. You guys all have a good night, and I will be talking to you soon.
You too, my friend. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Yes,
okay.
Sir, see you later.
Yes,
Friday.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, that's right. All right. So let me move everybody over now. Yeah, what do you?
Do you have any videos you're gonna play, Kate? If not, I just need to take a break here for a few.
Yeah, no, I have a whole host
smoke
of
your panther, you fucker.
shit to go through. We just got Willie up here, and I kind of wanted.
No, I don't want to interrupt y'all's conversation. I just didn't want to think y'all was bailing on you. I just got to go take a break here.
Yeah, no worries. Then do what you got to do, and we'll be here when you get back.
I shall see you then, sir. Thank you much.
All right, my brother. Thank you for being on today. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, Willie, we kind of had our own little experience last night.
Yeah.
With the whole thing going down, like, pretty much live. And I rewatched Jules of All Trades, or Jules True Crime Reactions, again today. And like I said,
I love Jules, dude.
Dude, she is, I don't know.
Me and Jules have been in this shit, like, before, this was like fucking 2.5, 3 years ago. Fucking, we were like taking, dude, it'd be like just me and her in a channel, and everybody would be attacking us for having, the opinion that he might not. It was nuts, bro. At one point, it was insane. You couldn't go anywhere and have an opinion of, Brian might be innocent. Now, it's like these same channels are going live about him being innocent. It's like, you sick fucks.
I'm waiting for the flood of guilters to finally open their eyes, but it does seem in this case that they're stuck in the muds, and it doesn't matter what you present to them. And I want to know who is feeding Steve G all this bullshit that he's gobbling up.
Who the fuck knows, bro? He still thinks he knows fucking, all this inside information. Yet, who told us Ethan was slumped against a door that was closed and Hunter needed to be summoned over for it to be knocked down?
I know, Christy.
Oh, was that true or false?
Apparently, the door was open and Xana's body was right there. And Rock Chalk made a great point earlier, to saying the smell of a dirty penny would be overwhelming. You're within 5-6 feet of a body.
8 hours of fucking decomposition.
What, they didn't have a bedroom light on? Did the killer shut the light off after he vacuumed up the DNA and parachuted out?
Thank you for bringing that shit up, because now I'm hearing, I haven't read it in any documents yet, I'm just going by what people have told me so far, that there's evidence of cleanup.
Right. Well, we knew there was evidence to clean up. How do you have a one-legged? I mean, this isn't the fugitive.
I know. Okay,
How do you
I
have a one-legged
understand
perpetrator?
it said latent shoe. I understand it said latent shoe print, but it still didn't give us 100% fact of cleanup. Now we know there's cleanup.
And now we also know there was 2 other perpetrators, which the state could not be less interested in, and they're almost pointing. They are not. They're not almost. They are literally trying to bury that.
If people think the state doesn't know who else was involved in this, they're out of their minds, bro. The problem is the state can't present what they really know because that's not what they're charging him with right now. They're basically saying Brian did this and it's him alone. Now, unfortunately for them,
they want it.
They uncovered evidence that showed that it wasn't just Brian, but they have to stick to their guns now. That's sad. Because that's not true justice, dude.
I think they've been wanting to ride this horse to pasture since the beginning, and it doesn't matter what you present in front of them. They're going to do it anyway, and it's disgusting. But yeah, no, you bring up a good point as a father. All of the reactions and the statements that they make are counter to what I would picture myself doing. I've never been in this situation, but that's why I say, who the fuck is it seems like he's just like grasping on everything that they say is gospel. If you're gonna quote,
remember last week he basically came out and said, everybody has to stop talking about Dylan. She didn't know what happened. Yeah. That's why she was on her phone all night, and you can tell she didn't know anything. Really, bro? He's still, and I'm so pissed that nobody asked him that question. Of course, they didn't fucking, they were all fucking softball questions.
Right.
But I wish somebody would have asked that question to him. How do you feel about Dylan now that you know that she fucking saw people dead and still ran downstairs, didn't dial 911, didn't give a shit, went on Instagram?
Here's a question, and if you're not sure, if somebody in the chat knows, was the masked perpetrator seen? Okay, this is really crazy if you think about it. Was the masked perpetrator seen before or after the first or second time that she saw Xana's body laying there in a pool of blood? In the worst crime scene ever. The mask. So I'm wondering, A, was the perpetrator upstairs when she went down to Bethany's room? And then,
hold on. And it says that when she opened her door, she saw the perpetrator walk towards the kitchen, which led her to believe that the killer had left the scene. So when she exited her room, in her mind, according to the PCA, the killer had already left the scene. So she's walking through, going towards the stairway, and sees Xana laying there. But yet doesn't have the time to go over and say, "Hey, you okay?" Come on, bro.
Dude, it's wild. And then
that's why I'm so pissed.
Yeah, it as a parent, there's terrible things that happen in this world. I cannot imagine one worse than, and then you can literally, "Hey, Xana, are you okay?" Or just, if you walked up to that person, you would see the inflicted wounds. I don't care if you walked up to them at some point in the night, which why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try to render aid? And a lot of people have said maybe she could have been saved. Maybe they all could have been. Who knows?
Exactly. I'll give you. Okay. Oh, she didn't see any blood because it was dark. Whatever. But bullshit. She saw my fucking eyebrows. But in the daytime when she saw it, you know what I mean, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
She saw the flecks of nose hair in his nose, but she couldn't see blood from 5 feet away.
She saw all these fine details of this, that, and the third, but she couldn't fucking make out. And the position of Xana's body, bro, there's no way she was laying, like I told you, there's no way she was laying in a position that she, like, put herself in. You understand? So she wasn't, like, in a fetal position or in a position of, like, somebody who's normally on the ground, I guess, passed out drunk. She's in a position on the ground where she just got stabbed fucking 40, 50 times. Sprawled out. That's insanity. You see that, and then you run downstairs and you don't dial 911. Let alone for 8 hours.
Let alone go up to her and shake her, be like, "Hey, oh God, oh my God," you know. And the smell, you know, like Rock Chalk was saying. Thank you for that, Rock Chalk, reminding me, because it's, you know, it's not necessarily decomp, but you have the smell of blood. It smells like iron. It's very, very pungent.
It is decomp.
And well, decomp takes about 24 hours to start. 24 to
sure?
48 hours, yeah. It's the
I
but
don't
you
know.
have
It all depends on the conditions.
right. Well, more it's obviously you're going to start getting a smell within 8 hours. Yeah, you're definitely going to get that. But when we're talking about now, the other point that's important to me, and I think it was Brian or somebody who just said it, is that now if Xana is already lying on the ground at 2:15 or 4:15, then we don't have the full 18 minutes that they reenacted by stabbing the air and said it could be done. We've shaved like a whole 10 minutes off the whole thing. Now it's done in 6 to 8.
Well, let me ask you this. If Xana's laying in the goddamn hallway we know now, why'd they tell us everybody was sleeping?
Dude,
in their beds.
It's why is exactly right. Why have they done this every step of the way? And that's what I thought was one of the things with Jules, because you don't see her really give. You know, she's just like, I am so sick of these stories from this town, and I am too. And
I don't know, bro.
There's
all that blood, dude, and that. I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of a small apartment on 2 different floors.
Right.
And, like, don't people shit themselves when they die? Right? So you got 4 people, you know, defecating themselves.
Typically, yes.
And nobody smells a damn thing. Nothing.
Yeah, it would be like a cross
They're
between
drunk.
a morgue and a triage in a wartime. That overwhelming of an odor. And it's not something you can assimilate to.
Exactly. But they're like, oh, no big deal.
But no, Dylan, and they still are hanging on to the she was awoken by. When was she sleeping, bro? When?
No, that's what I'm saying. Nobody brought up the fucking 351 in the paperwork. 351, dude. She's putting in a contact in her phone. So how the hell did she sleep for 9 minutes?
Well, she's walked by her roommate. She's editing videos. She's sending pictures. She's editing pictures. What the fuck are these pictures of? Hey, Dad, check this out. My roommate's sprawled out on the floor. What should I do? Because it's like Miss Potts says, you know, no daughter is calling her dad at 7:30 on Sunday morning after partying all night unless something's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan also spoke with her father twice.
Yep.
I don't know,
bro. This whole thing is off.
Yeah, I want to see how they think that they can. Here's the thing. They're not afraid to tell the jury all this, and I think that they can. Heather says editing dick pics, surely. They are, like, when I say they're very adept at this, their plan is to present the same bullshit narrative they gave us in the beginning to the jury, who already thinks Koberger is guilty going in, bro. You have to remember that he's not one of us. What difference does it make if he's one of us or not? If he did this terrible thing, that makes zero difference. I mean, why is that even a talking point? You know, and
I have no clue.
Yeah, the wild thing is, bro, is you have the state full of shit. Literally, what did they tell that grand jury to get this pushed
here's the thing,
through?
right? Though the state's not full of shit, because the state knows the names of the other fucking people involved and what actually happened. The issue is they already overcharged Brian and said that Brian's the only one that did it, so they can't go back now.
Right, the blinders are on.
That's my opinion.
The blinders were put there purposely, though. It's like and you have an entire town that doesn't speak about it, and you have people that are very close to it. We haven't heard a word from a single frat member on. You would think there would be like somebody that's like the advocate of trying to figure out who the fuck did it from the beginning.
Unless you're scared.
Yeah, they've got to be. There has to be.
Dylan's scared to come back. Bethany's everybody's scared to come back to the town. Why? If the bad man's locked up.
You know why I think is when you have your rush week at a sorority or a fraternity or whatever it is, what they do is they put you in precarious, and I mean really bad, wild situations, drinking human fluids that you normally wouldn't, S&Ds, all kinds of naked pictures, this kind of shit. So they have something on everyone that is involved in a fraternity or sorority. This is why you have, more than likely, they called in the cleaner from the fraternity or sorority, because JJ and I have talked about it, and that house is more a fraternity house where girls live.
That's what I mean. So if you're a guilter now, how are you going to justify Brian cleaning? How are you going to into this timeline? Brian had time to clean.
You couldn't commit it by yourself anyway. In that amount of time, I honestly would say that one was there. Now, yeah, you also have no forced entry. And then they want to add the burglary charge because that proliferates it expands the murder charge, right? Did we lose JJ? There he is. All right, now I got to switch you guys again. But I'm sorry. Hey, JJ, welcome back, buddy.
Is he back? I'm gonna hop down for a bit.
Okay, I'll go to my let me see. I'll go to my newsreels here.
It says he's muted.
He's muted?
Yeah.
I don't have him. That's on his end. He might be having technical. Yeah, but come on back up. I'm gonna go. Dinky is not live tonight?
No, he is. Yeah, he's gonna be live in a bit.
Oh, he's coming up. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, then maybe we'll shut it down there. I think we.
I mean, you're not gonna shut down. I was just, I'm just gonna pop down because I want to go eat something real quick before he goes live and smoke a little bit. Hey,
yeah.
knock it off.
I want to check out his show too. I wanted to kind of do a pre-Dinky IMO show in between Lana and all that, and give everybody a chance to chat and talk in between and whatever. So
all right, cool. All right,
yeah, we'll do it.
Then.
I think Monday I'm going to come back on, and we could do it again, and I'm sure there'll be more.
Yeah, well, dude, now it's going to be fucking. Who knows how many documents are going to be back and forth now after all this? It's going to be insane.
I'm sure they'll redact more than they release, because this is definitely working against them as far as I'm concerned. I don't know.
You think?
To say the least,
but like, imagine if we weren't able to see any of these documents. You know what I mean? We'd all be sitting here with our thumbs up our asses, still thinking, something completely different happened. So at least Hitler said, "Stop stealing shit." I'll give him that.
Yeah. Well, we all thought Hitler was a stickler in the beginning, but we've seen from the way all the typos and all the mistakes that he makes, that's not even close to a fact, JJ, are you there? I got you. Maybe it's because he doesn't want to be covered up by your face here. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you are. Hey, brother.
There he is. I'm gonna hop down, fellas.
Just walk him up.
All right, bro. If we're still going, jump back up.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Cool.
See you guys.
All right, bro.
Good purging.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so yeah, we had Willie from Truth Nation Uncensored. Make sure that you check that out. And we got JJ Vance back here. I'm gonna give. Usually, Willie has like a 15-minute, or Dinky has a 15-minute intro. So we have a lot more to talk about, JJ, don't we?
Oh, for sure. And we can say something for Monday if you'd like, sir. We can wrap up some stuff here today if you'd like to get your show closed out.
Yeah. Well, what do you think Hitler would say?
Well, I think I think you know what I think Hitler would say, and that's the same thing Hitler says when he seals the jury instructions and the witness lists.
That
He
is
says, US
very
Constitution,
crazy.
Never
yeah.
heard of it. Said U.S. Constitution, never heard of it. Maybe the jury has. They're smart people. The rest of y'all can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck your U.S. Constitution. You know.
I mean, it's crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even. It's the lies. It's the changing of the narratives. It's the ignoring their own evidence. I'm not even saying like ignoring the stuff they're putting in the CODIS and and how they're claiming experts aren't experts, as Hitler's now decided. Like, oh, they're not providing expert opinions. They're just showing you what they did. Well, they didn't do anything, dumbass. That's what I'm talking about. Hitler.
They didn't, and there's so much that's gone uninvestigated when I talk about these traffic cameras, and it doesn't appear at this point that any of that has been presented.
I cut out there. What'd you say, sir?
I'm saying that, like, with the traffic cams at the red lights, that hasn't been presented if they canvassed the area. Now, in Moscow, another thing is the house and the dollhouse representation that the FBI is taking 1.5 years to build for them. That's not to scale, which is suspect in itself. You have to think, why are they not doing it to scale, and why, if they're putting this much time and effort into it? And is that because not only is that house very paper walls thin, it's also very, kind of cutty corner kind of thing, where it's, a very tight area, as well as the 1122 King Road, Queen Road area. That house is literally an amphitheater, hence you have all the noise complaints for just, probably low volume music, because the house isn't holding anything in, and then you have the projection of the house with the apartments behind it blasting it out, making it, travel further. And that's
for sure.
Yeah, because Twizzlestick went to Moscow without me, and he went to 1122.
How dare he?
I can't. I'm still a little shook by it, but I'll get over it because we're gonna hang out. We're gonna have a good time. But
y'all are gonna do Randonautica.
We are doing the Randonautica, and we're gonna put 50 on green on the roulette and see what happens over there. I'm really excited about it. The trade-off is I got to go scuba diving in the Gulf of America for buried treasure and swim with sharks. That bastard. I'll get you, Twiz. And so, but no, it seems like they're ignoring the fact that these facts are important, say alternate suspects or timeline lies. How is it that he's so harsh on Anne, and then he won't even let her finish a sentence? Why does this keep going on nuts? Oh, I lost JJ. Shit, did I do that, JJ? Well, anyway, why is it that he goes nuts on her, interrupts her, but he's going to ignore something like, just ignore the PCA, the probable cause that we brought this guy in with, and move on and just go ahead and present all that bullshit in a different twist to the jury when the trial happens? How are you going to ignore that? How are you going to let it go? I mean, it's bad enough that law enforcement did, but then you add in, did I get on too much of a rant? Here, JJ, in case you don't have the link, you want to come back and wrap it up. I don't want to take away from Dinky's show. I'm not trying to go up against Dinky. I am excited to see him back. So we'll shut it down there. We'll pick it up back on Monday. There'll be a lot more, guys. Thank you, everybody, for being in. Let me go through before we shut it down, because I know Dinky is late a lot of times. God bless his heart. And I also have some stories. And then he plays that long intro. So hang out with me for another minute, because I feel like I have... Oh, there's JJ. Oh, hey, JJ.
Am I back? Is this the Purge?
We're purging. We're a purging rug over here.
So I think what I was saying about that house, if I may, that house, what you're saying is all great examples of why it can't exist for the purposes of trying to prosecute Koberger. But I think that house has served some long purposes in this distribution of drug network. And as you were talking here when I was walking my pup, you were talking to Willie, and you were saying that the girls have lived there. That's true. Sorority girls have lived there for about the last, I think it's 5 years or so, or 8 years or so now, but 5 years at the time of the crimes. However, preceding that, it seems to have been largely occupied by Sigma Chi.
Right. And
dating back to like 1999 or so roughly 20 years almost.
Yeah, in the 80s it was known as like the party house. They had a term for it, I forget what it is. But it was known for its parties and actually for slanging out of that house.
Yeah.
So it has a reputation, and this kind of lends itself to the whole, was the house the target? Because police
well, it was
obviously
the target to destroy, right?
It was right in the sights. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I think to a certain degree they were telling the truth there when they said that the house was a target, because to a certain degree the house was a target.
Right, and you have the mayor himself. Everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten, JJ. And it's the same with this house, that you have all of the accurate information, if there ever was one, came out in the beginning, and then they clamped that gag order on everybody, except for Howard Bloom. Howard Bloom got his free reign to talk to everybody.
Howard Bloom's an expert in this case. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
I've heard. I'm still trying to vet that. I'd like to see one example of him being anything other than a make-believe idiot. And,
I can tell you that Steve G highly respects his opinion on a number of matters, according to the interview I watched last night.
Yeah, apparently. What was your takeaway from that one?
Well, my personal takeaway. I'll save that for my Hitler decision for a different time, because I do respect the man lost a child here, but his statements appear to be getting flagrant. You know what I mean? Because like he was talking some real flagrant stuff last night,
such as
promoting saying, well, first of all, he was saying that he had confirmation back in early December, I want to say on or about December 13th, that the feds had their own independent investigation going. Right, so which we've been talking about.
We lost you for a sec, JJ. You froze up. You know what I decided to do now, since Dinky typically does like a 2-hour show or ish, 3 hours maybe. Would you be willing to come back and do a post-game show with me?
After my show?
Oh, you have? Is it Friday? Yeah, that would be perfect. Yeah, you go about 9 to 11 tonight.
That's an accurate assessment.
Okay, so yeah,
but it's generally 11.
I haven't done a late night show in a long time, and that'll give me the chance to go out and make some donuts. So I need to do that, and why don't we pick it up there? And I have a lot of news stories I want to share with you guys. If you want to do that, go check out Dinky IMO. If somebody would please put a link in the chat. Thank you for being here, everybody. Please join us tonight if you're available after the Operation GCD. I might start a little earlier to get the news stories out, and then JJ can join us afterwards. So we'll do that. That's
happy
a plan.
To join you all for some Purge.
All right, bro. I love it. Yeah, because I feel like we haven't touched the tip of the dick pic yet on all the shit that we have to talk about tonight. So we'll call this a preamble, and we'll get to purging around 10:30, 11 o'clock tonight. Okay.
All right, get them pineapple burgers fired up, Kane. I'll see you then.
All right, I'll start throwing them down. I'll let the chat run here for another minute.
Great Purge.
Thank you, man. Yeah, this is it. All you guys always blow my mind hole, so I appreciate you, brother.
We'll talk about some more Gooch and the Prince of Darkness, I'm sure, but I look forward to it.
Oh, while you're here, what is the topic of tonight's show, by the way, on Operation GCD and the Occult Rejects?
It's we're doing a deep dive into American jurisprudence based upon the guidance of a very prestigious judge in the state of Idaho named Stephen Hippler. And that's his general theory of law is the jury's not full of a bunch of dumbasses. Y'all can go fuck yourselves, Constitution included.
Yeah, you're really doing Hitler tonight?
No,
that would be great.
We're actually doing some Iran Contra stuff, so I'm probably gonna do a lot of Idaho 4 comparisons to some of those.
Well, there'll be some juice in there for you guys to come back with from his show, I'm sure, if you're not familiar with Iran Contra stuff. Okay, we'll do that tonight. Thank you again, everybody. About 10:30.
No creamsicle popsicles, but I look forward.
Dude, I meant to pick some up for you. Sorry, all you're gonna have is frozen pineapple burgers. Just let them thaw it out on the heater.
That's what I was gonna say. Put them on the heat exchange. They'll thaw out.
All right, JJ. We'll see you. Have a great show, man. See you later. We'll see you later, bud. Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. Yeah, we'll do the news stories and everything else later that I've got, and I'll let this chat run for a minute while I get ready to go to work. So have a great night. I will see you all later on, and thank you for working with us tonight. Bye-bye.